Go Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Ming of Revolution, and I got some late breaking news revolutionaries can use. It is a new day in Africa, y'all. It is a new day. The three kings, the rise of heroes that have built a new alliance and have sealed the deal. NATO is afraid. The puppet boule Africans are afraid. Very powerful picture of these three great leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger.
Nos peuples ont irrévocablement tourné le dos à la CEDEAO. Il nous appartient aujourd'hui de faire la Confédération Alliance des États du Sahel. Une alternative à tout regroupement régional factice en construisant une communauté souveraine des peuples.
We're going to hear more from these two great men, but when I seen this morning, I was so elated that I lived to see this, and I've been promoting this. But just the great leader of Niger, to see these three men knowing what they did. First of all, they kicked out the Americans, they kicked out the French. They are bringing Western imperialists to their knees. The boule in Africa are afraid because now you have these people living the dream of Gaddafi coming together, forming a military alliance, meaning you fight one, you got to fight them all. With the backing of Russia, Russia's supreme weaponry, today the three great leaders sat down together. This what has the U.S. afraid right now. Great leader right here, Mali. They know the youth of Africa is loving it. So this is what real revolution look like. They want this. This is a very powerful picture right here. It's a very powerful picture. All these men right here are wanted, dead or alive, by NATO, by the U.S. government. They want these brothers dead. These three brothers have denied Western nations their resources now. You can't get your hands on no more of the great gold and uranium and all that good a smorgasbord of resources they were stealing. That's over with because these three great leaders right here who have already fought off assassination attempts and coup d'etats and still standing firm. This was a legendary meeting. And all the rest of the puppets in Africa don't know this. Ain't no going back.
Je demeure convaincu que dans le contexte géopolitique actuel, l'Alliance des États du Sahel constitue le seul regroupement sous-régional efficient dans le domaine de la lutte contre le terrorisme, la CEDEAO ayant brillé par son déficit d'implication dans cette lutte.
Y'all remember the day that y'all witnessed Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali come together. We're talking about the alliance of African states. They erasing borders. They're going to administrate as like governors, but they still the leaders of the countries, but they're going to be one unit. And they can't be broken up because Russia has gave them max supreme weaponry. Why do you think the U.S. had to run out of Niger? Because Russia brought air defense systems. I told y'all in the beginning, people paid attention. You see, once Putin seen these people had heart, he gave them the weapons they needed. And these African leaders turned their weapons on NATO and let them know if y'all want to die, then y'all going to die trying to steal our resources. But we are free now. This is a great day. The U.S., see, they don't have this on the news because it's too humiliating. that these great leaders then kick the U.S. military, kick the French, the British out their countries. No more resources for cheap. France can't even get no resources. Everybody should be talking about this. South Africa better get their shit together because no more straddling the fence. Nigeria, they better get their shit together. No more straddling the fence. This is what revolution look like right here. What these three brave leaders can do. Letting it be known. If you attack one, you got to attack all of us. No more picking on one nation. You got to fight all of us, and we ready. This is a great thing. Ego is aside. Nobody can be both. None of these men.
L'Afrique, ce continent qui a tant souffert et qui continue de souffrir du fait des impérialistes.
Hold on. Let's get into the great speeches, because we're going to hear these brothers speak, because you got to hear what they said at this summit that really set the tone. Now, the leader of Burkina Faso, the youngest leader in Africa, Ibrahim Traoré, is electrifying, and the ancestors is in this man, you know, and the youth of Africa are ready to ride for him. That's why they keep trying to assassinate him. But Putin then sent his military officials to surround him, train his military to make sure that this man can fulfill his dream.
Ce continent qui a tant souffert et qui continue.
This continent has suffered so much and continues to suffer because of imperialists.
Ces impérialistes n'ont qu'un seul cliché.
These imperialists have only one cliché in mind. Africa is the empire of slaves. This is how they see Africa. For them, Africans belong to them. Our lands belong to them. Our subsoil belongs to them. They have never been able to change the logic until today. This is deplorable. But how do they proceed? Unfortunately, it is since the 1960s that these 6,000 acres of independence have been given to Africa. They have just placed local valets at the head, according to them, of their sub-prefecture to be able to continue to feed them. These local valets, which we are going to call today the slaves of Salon, have other goals. They want to live like the master, to satisfy the master, and to do everything that the master dictates to them. They steal, they plunder our states, they bring everything to the master, and their wealth is kept with the master. They do everything to live like the master and always satisfy him. Do you know who these slaves of Salon are? Well, we are going to explain to you what they are. They are individuals who have no dignity, who have no morals, who have no personality. But the master slave has always known how to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brother, to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to the benefit of their master. These individuals continue, against all odds, to help the master plunder Africa. They like to say it every year. In their economic polls, Burkina is the poorest country, Mali is the poorest country, Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say. But when the time has come to take responsibility, we have asked this master to leave the place. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for more than 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy at home. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are illuminated. It is the light. But in Niger, it is the darkness that has served us. When you go to our states, our soils are full of precious metals, such as gold. But often there is not even the slightest road accessible to reach the areas where they exploit gold, even less certain basic social services. This is why we have decided to revolt and take the fate of our countries into our own hands.
Real revolution y'all witnessing, man.
There are many other examples, but when we decided so, we were approached by some saloon slaves to pass on the message of their master. Because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the heads of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain. And it is inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to enter the ranks to make the elite leave that must lead Africa. Because they have an elite formed and formatted that must follow, that is embedded in this chain. We refused to enter their ranks. And then the hostilities began. They have sent several mercenaries and trainers to our area. The agents have descended into the Sahel to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our people, hoping to revolt them. In addition to these attacks on the ground, the attacks on communication, manipulation, and disinformation are full in their ranks. But the people of the Sahel have understood, and we will never be able to be manipulated again. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going. We will no longer allow this. People are awake, and people are fighting today, not for ourselves, but for future generations. And thank you all for the fight that is being fought. This will never make us cry. We will not tremble. We will fight. We will fight for real independence, for our freedom. Because to scare the people of the Sahel, these individuals have only 3 terms in their mouths: democracy, freedom, human rights. Of course, their local values are only elected in a democratic, free, and transparent process according to their values. What is more normal, that we want to impose this on ourselves, because it is they who dictate the rules. Very well, we have decided to take responsibility. Do you know why on June 26, 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the slaves of Salon and their masters got on the big horses? They put their local values forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. So we said, anyone who dares to take up arms against Niger will face us. Because we will wage a merciless war until the last drop of blood for anyone who dares to attack our states. This word, this decision we made yesterday, is current today and will be current tomorrow and forever. Thus, we acquired the AES on September 16, 2023, in a mutual defense architecture. But we felt it necessary to extend and therefore enlarge the AES architecture. What brings us together today must allow us to go to other areas in addition to defense, including finance and economy, infrastructure, health, education. In short, I pass.
One state.
So I hope that this moment will be for us a story that we will write for the AES, but especially for Africa and for the whole world.
Que Dieu illumine tout un chacun de nous
May God illuminate each and every one of us. May God inspire us in these tasks that are entrusted to us. And above all, that when we do all our work, that we have in mind only one thing:
l'intérêt suprême de nos populations.
The supreme interest of our people. On this, we pray once again, good God, that He accompanies us all in our different tasks, that He protects our fighters, who, thanks to them, allow us to sit here and exchange about the future of our states. So be grateful once again, Nigerian people. Be united and united, people of the AES, the homeland, or death.
Yeah, they definitely want that young brother dead, but the Russians done surrounded him with some professional killers, trained his soldiers so he can perform his task. He's not going nowhere. None of these revolutionaries are going anywhere.
Since the first days that we have followed this historic event, the results have been visible on the ground. Indeed, our alliance has very carefully translated into action the collective defense and assistance architecture set up to fight against terrorism in all its forms and against organized criminality in our shared space. I would like to insist on the notion of shared space, to salute the clairvoyance of my brothers, President Chiani and Traore, who took the necessary measures to authorize the right to pursue their respective territories in order to effectively track terrorist armed groups without contracts.
Remember, Nigeria, along with the Boule, tried to tell these brothers if they didn't break up and step down and turn their countries back over to civilian leadership, then they would have to attack Niger when that happened. And these brothers called their bluff with the help of Russian weapons, Iranian weapons, Venezuelan weapons, North Korean weapons. All the revolutionary nations immediately armed them. But these brothers right here is standing firm for Africa right now. Even South Africa right now, they on some Boule BS. That's serious business. Until they stand with these revolutionaries, they just playing.
It's related to the national borders. The security dimension at the origin of the creation of the AS is perfectly taken care of by our defense and security forces, which operate in total complementarity against terrorist attacks. Our forces are now projecting an offensive posture to neutralize these groups 100 times or less. The commitment and determination of our men and women in the fight strengthens our pride, especially in view of the undeniable retreat of the security in the AES space. The best illustration of this advanced security is the return of the state, administrations and populations in locations for a long time, well too long, occupied by terrorist armed groups, supported by their external sponsors. Thus, today, it is obvious that the situation has changed course. For the time being, we are regularly witnessing acts of reduction of terrorist elements that lay down their arms in front of our national armies. The establishment of the Joint Force of the Sahel States in March 2024 symbolizes our united action and determination to protect our populations together and to preserve our sovereignty. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I spoke earlier about the rights of pursuit.
And Chad is talking about joining these brothers. They have went the same step that all of these brothers did. They put the French troops out. They went sat down. Their leader went sat down with Vladimir Putin. Everything these brothers did, Chad is doing, and Senegal is doing. But Senegal tried to bring them back into the ECOWAS bloc. They refused. But the Senegalese leaders are revolutionary in their own right, and but they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and these brothers not having it. You gotta totally take your resources back from the West if you want to be part of this alliance. You cannot let the West run your resources anymore, and you gotta tell them that with your weapon in their goddamn face, like these brothers did.
Which, during anti-terrorist operations, abolished the borders between our three states. I would like to take this opportunity to address one of the other essential aspects of our common alliance, the free movement of people and goods. Too often, the populations of our respective states have heard the principle.
And Europe hate that. You gotta have different passports. In Africa, you gotta have like 50 different passports to get into all these different countries. The Africans, I just seen a video maybe a month ago. The richest man in Africa say he had to have like 30-something passports to move around Africa. Europe like that. Europe is the one who want them blocked off from one another. And it made no sense why they followed the dictates of the Europeans. So when these brothers just said free movement within the three countries, Europe hate that. Togetherness. Let's bond. Let's come back together. Erase the borders of the Europeans. That's legendary shit.
Of this free movement being advocated without it becoming a lived reality. Administrative and road hassles have derailed this ambition. In fact, I know that with my brothers, Presidents Chiani and Traoré, we will soon no longer refer to the respective populations of our countries, but rather our AES populations. For the AES we are establishing is, first and foremost, the AES of the peoples. An AES in which Burkinabés and Nigerians will be at home in Mali and vice versa, without any bureaucratic barriers.
Man, that's great.
This freedom of movement will be supported by accelerated investments in road, rail, and air infrastructure, as well as in new information and communication technologies.
That's where China come in. You see, that's where China come in. I'm gonna show you that with the advanced high-speed rail connection and all that. China just want to get goods to all three of them. This is business. That's where China gonna come in. This is a great day, and there's nothing the West can do about it. It's nothing the EU can do about it. They want to go to war. These people ready to go to war, man. These brothers. They're not just talking. They want to go to war about this shit.
This will catalyze deeper investments in agricultural production and the transformation industries, benefiting from the complementarity of our economies. To achieve this reality, which is already well under construction, our ministers have spared no effort. Indeed, in less than a year, they held 4 sectoral and expanded meetings that laid the necessary foundation for an alliance of the same states with enhanced competencies. The ministers responsible for the economy and finance paved the way for coordination in economic development by formulating relevant recommendations in Bamako on November 25, 2023, for the harmonious development of the AIS area. These included aspects such as strengthening a common and harmonized framework for public policies in economic, financial, mineral, educational, environmental, and cultural domains, and jointly implementing structural projects. The foreign ministers, meeting for the first time in Bamako on November 30th and December 1st, 2023, agreed on diplomatic coordination and submitted for our consideration the recommendation to establish a confederation uniting the three states. Ending the creation of a federation encompassing Burkina, Mali, and Niger. Proactively, an expanded ministerial meeting was held in Ouagadougou on July 15, 2024, to draft preliminary documents.
Understood. In Africa, and they are military and a military superpower, thanks to the Russian weapons and their brave soldiers. They definitely a military superpower. Nobody in Africa can play with them or defeat them ever. And now they are a resource-rich superpower. And once they get that down packed on how they're going to deal with their resources properly, man, it's just no turning back. And war going to come because Europe cannot let this stand. So they just got to keep their eyes on Nigeria, Uganda. Their president been winding a little bit. You got to watch the Boule house niggas of Africa who don't like this.
Related to the Confederation.
The
Foreign Affairs Ministers then finalized in Niamey on May 17, 2024, the projects of the texts on the creation, organization.
Watch Egypt. I know they don't like this. We're gonna get in the UAE. They've been doing so much stealing from Africa. The Arabs don't like this. You gotta watch the Sudanese, so-called black Arabs who fighting over the country right now, because they will do. They cause confusion on behalf of the Arabs.
And functioning of the AES, as well as the preparatory documents of the present summit. I intend to make this reminder, Your Excellencies, my dear brothers, to address our warm congratulations to our ministers and their technical teams for the work done in such a short time. And especially for the quality of the documents they submitted to our appreciation. I particularly consider it useful to salute, through the elaborated texts project, the maintenance of values dear to our hearts, namely the values of fraternity, solidarity, complementarity, but also, and above all, the importance of placing and keeping the population at the heart of the action of the Confederation. I am also delighted by the constructive spirit that prevailed during the various works. This spirit is precisely what we were invited to formalize during the present summit in order to respond to the pressing needs of our populations who aspire to live together, to live in peace, to live in communion and harmony in a stable and prosperous space. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this first summit of the Confederation is an opportunity to reaffirm our solidarity and our mutual support. I would not be in this position without thanking the Republic of Niger for its active solidarity in deciding to provide us with an important amount of hydrocarbons. Excellencies and dear brothers of Brigadier General Abdurrahman Chiani, in this period of energy crisis, your mark of fraternity, beyond the symbol, revealed a particular character for the Malians. It is now up to us to strengthen this strategic link between our three states, to overcome together the challenges we face. To conclude, I would like to reiterate our firm determination to make the state of Sahel a model of regional cooperation, solidarity and development. A model of sub-regional integration in accordance with the principles of the Luptako Gurma Charter.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, nous honorons
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we honor today in Niamey our meeting with the Usuai to revive with our Confederation the spirit of unity desired by the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism.
d'unité voulue par les pères fondateurs du panafricanisme. En assumant
By taking our share of responsibility and leadership in this exalting and indispensable work for the region of Sahel or even beyond.
pour la région du Sahel, voire au-delà.
Long live the alliance of the states of Sahel. Long live the solidarity between our peoples.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you.
Son Excellence le capitaine Ibrahim Traoré,
His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of FASO, Head of State.
Son Excellence le colonel
His Excellency Colonel Assimi Goïta, President of the Transition, Head of State of the Republic of Mali.
This the leader of Niger talking.
de la République du Mali. Monsieur le Premier ministre,
Mr. Prime Minister, members of the delegations of Burkina Faso and Mali.
Burkina Faso et du Mali. C'est un grand
It is a great honor for me to welcome you to the Sahelian land of Niger.
la chaleureuse bienvenue chez vous en terre sahélienne du Niger. L'événement qui nous réunit
The event that brings us together is solemn and historic,
est historique en ce qu'il constitue une
as it constitutes an important step in the consolidation of the secular, geographic, and cultural links that unite our peoples.
géographique et culturelle qui unissent nos peuples. Le sommet objet de notre retrouvaille
The object of our meeting today is the culmination of our fierce common will to reconquer our national sovereignty and to rehabilitate our legendary dignity.
reconquête de notre souveraineté nationale et de réhabilitation de notre dignité légendaire.
It takes place on the right side of the adoption on September 16, 2023, of the Liptako-Gourma Charter, instituting the Sahel State Alliance.
Liptako-Gourma, instituant l'Alliance des États du Sahel. Mesdames et messieurs, l'approbation
Ladies and gentlemen, the formal approval of the Treaty on the Creation of the Sahel State Alliance
AES
will thus ensure the fulfillment of the aspirations of our peoples,
des aspirations de nos populations à sceller
which have sealed on the foundation of our Sahelian space
sahélien une union d'États
a union of states sharing the same challenges and the same ambitions. In one word, the same destiny.
En un mot, le même destin. En effet, la formation de l'Alliance des États du
Indeed,
Sahel
the formation of the Sahel State Alliance has already allowed to build around Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger
et du Niger une coalition solide
a solid coalition based on a common defense architecture
de défense commune et une
and a mutualization of means fed by a visionary solidarity
solidarité fusionnelle à l'image
in the image of those manifested by the authorities and peoples of Burkina and Mali against the armed aggression projected by ECOWAS against Niger.
l'agression armée projetée par la CEDEAO contre le Niger. La constitution de ce front a dissuadé les
The constitution of this front has undermined the validity of the destabilization of our country.
à réitérer mon sentiment de profonde gratitude
And I want to reiterate my feeling of deep gratitude to my brothers Ibrahim Traoré and Assimi Goïta for this manifest proof of active solidarity. My country pays a vibrant tribute to you for this position. Today, this front constitutes the rampart against which will be crushed any aggression against the Confederation of the Sahel State Alliance. In this regard, it pleases me to note that the security defense of the Sahel State Alliance already has significant advances with the establishment of the Sahel State Joint Force.
Conjointe des États du Sahel.
In the next round, in the theater of operations, our armies will carry out joint operations, concluding in the Liptako-Gourma.
Concluante dans le Liptako-Gourma. Mr.
President Goïta is saddened. The Confederation Alliance of the States of the Sahel will therefore build on a substrate that ensures the protection of the population against any threat of terrorist aggression, rebellion, armed banditry, or any hostile act coming from abroad.
Ou tout acte hostile venant de l'extérieur.
I remain convinced that, in the current geopolitical context, the Confederation Alliance of the States of the Sahel constitutes the only efficient sub-regional regroupment in the field of the fight against terrorism. The ECOWAS, having shown by its lack of involvement in this fight. Thus,
nobody else fighting terrorism.
The Confederation Alliance of the States of the Sahel alone allows us to face terrorist threats as no other regional or international structure has done before. Dear colleagues, heads of state, while consolidating this strategic axis, it is necessary in the current geopolitical context to coordinate our diplomatic actions, both on the bilateral level and within multilateral organizations, and to harmonize our foreign policies to best guarantee the interests of our Confederation Alliance of the States of the Sahel in the international arena.
International.
Already, significant diplomatic successes are recorded, as evidenced by the strong return of our states to the international stage.
The
resumption of cooperation with bilateral and multilateral partners, as well as the conclusion of new strategic partnerships. Concerning the development axis, it is urgent to create the conditions for a real food security in the countries of the Confederation, and to put in place the economic, financial, and monetary devices necessary for the financing of development and productive investment in the space of the states of the Confederation.
De l'Alliance.
The economic fate of our states also lies in industrialization in view of the transformation in place of our products and our natural resources. As well as the solidity of our Confederation relies on our ability to build interconnection infrastructures, roads, airline companies, railway networks, as well as structural projects in the field of agri-food, extractive industries, and energy.
Des industries extractives et de l'énergie. Dans cette marche,
in this direction, our populations are ahead of the states. This is evidenced by the enthusiasm generated every day by the Alliance of the States of the Sahel, with our young men and women, as this popular momentum constitutes the best age to build a people's confederation and not a bureaucratic building.
Bureaucratique. Chers collègues chefs d'État,
dear colleagues, our deliberations will certainly allow us to adopt the legal and institutional framework to give body and identity to the Confederation Alliance of the States of the Sahel.
À la Confédération Alliance des États du Sahel. Nos peuples ont irrévocablement.
Our peoples have irrevocably turned their backs on the ECOWAS.
Il nous appartient aujourd'hui de faire.
It is now up to us to form the Confederation Alliance of States of the Sahel, an alternative to any regional factitious regrouping.
Une alternative à tout regroupement régional factice en construisant
by building a sovereign community of peoples, a community far from the manipulation of foreign powers, a community of peace, solidarity, and prosperity based on our African values.
De solidarité, de prospérité basée sur nos valeurs africaines.
The high-ranking officials and foreign affairs ministers who have finalized and adopted the treaty, it is with real pleasure that I mark my solemn commitment to the creation of the Confederation Alliance of States of the Sahel. I also approve the interior regulation project of the College of Heads of State of the Confederation Alliance of States of the Sahel. Niger, in my view, is committed to working tirelessly for the good progress of our confederation. It is on this note of commitment and hope that I declare open the first summit of heads of State of the Confederation Alliance of States of the Sahel.
Burkina Faso, a country rich in gold mineral resources, has found itself lacking control over its own gold mining industry. Foreign companies and rebel groups controlling certain mining sites have exploited this resource to finance their operations. However, President Traoré, upon assuming leadership, recognized this issue and took decisive action to regain control over Burkina Faso's gold resources. One of Traoré's notable achievements has been the ban on gold exports, ensuring that the government retains authority over this valuable resource. Additionally, he spearheaded the establishment of the country's first gold refinery and a mining waste processing facility, further solidifying local control. But how does this effort combat terrorism and wrestle control of gold from terrorists? Traoré identified the fraudulent export of gold.
Just imagine that Burkina Faso, gold-rich nation, and never had a refinery in the country until now.
Significant contributor to terrorist financing. By suspending gold exports, he effectively severed a major funding source for these extremist groups. Artisanal gold production, which constitutes half of Burkina Faso's total gold output, had made it easy for terrorists and jihadists to blend in as ordinary citizens and exploit multiple gold mines to fuel terrorism within the country. Through these measures, Traoré aims to curtail the illicit flow of gold, disrupt terrorist financing networks, and reclaim control over Burkina Faso's gold resources, ensuring that they benefit the nation rather than foreign entities solely driven by profit. As a result, the closure of 4 industrial mines and the abandonment of nearly 700 gold panning sites in 2022 has had a notable impact on Burkina Faso's gold production. However, suspending gold exports alone is insufficient, as terrorists still exert control over these mines. They may continue to smuggle gold out of the country through undisclosed routes, evading government detection. To address this issue comprehensively, President Traoré made the strategic decision to launch military operations aimed at gaining full control of these gold mines. One such operation was conducted in the Djibo Greenstone Belt, located in the northern region of Burkina Faso. The Djibo Greenstone Belt holds immense geological significance for Burkina Faso, boasting ancient rock formations and substantial mineral resources, particularly gold.
Now,
its mineral wealth...
For decades, forever, the West act like they couldn't help. You know, they couldn't, not because it's been going on since the fall of Gaddafi, because it didn't used to be no Islamic terrorists in Africa until Barack Obama and them unleashed ISIS and moderate rebels on Gaddafi. And then after they stole weapons from Libya, and then they went into deeper into Africa, all this BS started happening. But the U.S. pretended like for over a decade, France, all the NATO pretended like they could not defeat these rebels. Who do you think these rebels were selling all these resources to?
Wealth makes it a prime area of interest for mining companies, investors, and a potential catalyst for economic growth in the country. By regaining control of these mines through military operations, Traoré aims to ensure that the economic benefits derived from the Djibo Greenstone Belt directly contribute to the prosperity and stability of Burkina Faso. Regrettably, the Djibo Greenstone Belt has been plagued by persistent security challenges, with terrorist groups capitalizing on the region's gold resources to finance their activities. This has created a multifaceted security environment, exacerbating the situation further. The illegal mining operations not only deprive the state of vital revenue, but also contribute to environmental degradation and social unrest. The presence of terrorists has resulted in frequent violent incidents, including attacks on mining sites, the abduction of workers, and extortion targeting local businesses. Consequently, fear and instability permeate the region, discouraging legitimate mining companies from investing in the area. The rugged and remote terrain of the region further complicates the security situation, providing natural cover for terrorist activities. Under the leadership of Captain Traoré, the Burkinabe military has embarked on a comprehensive military operation aimed at dismantling the terrorist network and restoring order. The Djibo Greenstone Belt has become the focal point of intense military activities as the fight against terrorism reaches unprecedented levels, both symbolically and geographically. The Burkinabe military has successfully established a stronghold in part of the Sahel region, including Safin, making the operation exceptionally hazardous. The strategic positioning of the air fleet near the combat zone enables continuous aerial surveillance, offering vital support to the ground troops. During a specific operation, the 4th, 5th, and 6th battalions of the Burkinabe forces successfully secured the center of Commune 6. This area had been under terrorist control since 2019, effectively turning it into a colony of armed groups. The reconquest of this region represents a significant milestone for Burkina Faso. Prior to the military's intervention, the area had become a sanctuary for stolen heritage, forcing the local population into a difficult choice between fleeing or complying with the terrorists' demands. The Burkinabe forces approached the operation with caution. The commando unit's meticulous approach helped them identify potential traps set by the terrorists and ensured the establishment of perimeter control without any incidents. This allowed for systematic searches for concealed weapons within the area. The intense combat, characterized by the sound of gunshots, tested the soldiers' reflexes and resilience as they embarked on a high-stakes operation against deeply entrenched terrorist forces in the heart of Burkina Faso. The turning point in the battle emerged through the coordinated efforts and implementation of advanced military tactics. The Burkinabe forces, leveraging their strategic planning and modern technology, executed a series of meticulously orchestrated maneuvers that shifted the tide of the conflict in their favor. A crucial aspect of their success was the utilization of drones, which played a pivotal role in both surveillance and direct combat. These unmanned aerial vehicles proved instrumental in neutralizing enemy positions and providing real-time intelligence. With their ability to scan the landscape, the drones identified targets and delivered precise strikes that devastated the terrorist positions.
The Russian military group Wagner gave them those drones and showed them how to use those tactics.
The drone's capacity to engage from a distance with utmost accuracy minimized the risk to ground troops while inflicting maximum impact on the enemy. The coordinated efforts and precise drone strikes resulted in significant losses for the enemy. The terrorists, who had fortified their positions and expected a prolonged engagement, were taken by surprise and overwhelmed by the swift and resolute actions of the Burkinabe forces. This operation stands as a testament to the transformation of the Burkinabe military under President Traoré's leadership. Since assuming office, President Traoré has prioritized the modernization and enhancement of the military's capabilities. To achieve this, he ensured the acquisition of essential defense equipment and facilitated training from external forces. The successful execution of this operation highlights the impact of the reforms implemented by President Traoré in strengthening the country's defense. By gaining control of this region, Burkina Faso now has the opportunity to harness the economic benefits that the Djebo Greenstone Belt can offer. With its abundant gold resources, the region presents a substantial revenue stream for the country. Furthermore, with the establishment of a gold refinery, the processing of gold within the country before exportation creates a value chain, enhancing its overall value. This development is poised to have far-reaching benefits, including a significant increase in the country's GDP and the facilitation of various developmental projects. Moreover, the gold mining industry has the potential to generate numerous job opportunities, not only directly in mining operations, but also indirectly through auxiliary sectors such as transportation, equipment manufacturing, and supply chain services. This comprehensive approach to gold mining can contribute to both economic growth and job creation in Burkina Faso. As a result, an improved standard of living and a reduction in poverty would be witnessed in the region. The influx of investment required to exploit these gold deposits would not only benefit mining operations, but also pave the way for significant infrastructure development, including improved roads, enhanced energy supply, and upgraded water systems. This comprehensive progress would enhance the quality of life for local communities, demonstrating President Traoré's commitment to combating insecurity in Burkina Faso. However, this operation is just one of the many victories achieved by the Burkinabe forces against the insurgents, which unfortunately have gone unnoticed by the Western media. Another noteworthy operation took place in the northern regions of Burkina Faso, near the border with Mali. The military launched a fierce attack on the terrorists, forcing them to seek refuge in a nearby forest. The continued success of these military operations demonstrates the determination and effectiveness of the Burkinabe forces in countering the insurgency and restoring peace and stability to the region. The addition of a newly acquired attack helicopter proved to be a game changer for the military, enabling them to sustain the attack and achieve a swift victory without compromising the safety of their troops. According to reports from the Burkinabe military, a total of over 400 terrorists were eliminated on November 26, 2023, underscoring the significant impact of their operations. Considering the progress made since then, one can only imagine the substantial number of additional terrorists that have been neutralized. These achievements have been made possible due to the exceptional leadership of Captain Traoré. Under his guidance, the Burkinabe military has launched relentless campaigns against the terrorists, yielding remarkable successes. Furthermore, they have effectively secured crucial areas along the borders of Niger and Mali, bolstering regional security. Captain Traoré's leadership and the dedication of the Burkinabe military have been instrumental in combating the terrorist threat and safeguarding vital regions. Their unwavering efforts continue to bring notable victories and contribute to the overall stability and security of the country. Let us know your thoughts on the comment section
What will Africans do if the West attacks their beloved leader, Traoré? The West underestimates the power of African nations. Historically, when awareness was limited, Western powers managed to topple governments and assassinate leaders with impunity. Today, however, the world has shifted, and so have African attitudes. They refuse to allow the West to harm a leader who embodies Pan-African ideals. But to what extent will the West go? And how is Traoré ensuring his protection? Let's find out. In recent months, Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré has faced numerous attempts on his life. In response to these threats, Traoré has implemented stringent security measures modeled after Russian strategies. These steps are designed to protect not only his safety, but also the stability of his administration. But why is his life under threat? Ibrahim Traoré's ascent to power has been met with both admiration and animosity, painting a vivid picture of a leader caught in the crosshairs of hope and hostility. His vision for Burkina Faso, a vision of self-sufficiency, dignity, and genuine independence, resonates deeply with the people, yet stirs unease among those who stand to lose from the dismantling of the old guard. Traoré's popularity, both domestically and abroad, stems from his unwavering commitment to lifting Burkina Faso out of the shadows cast by colonialism and neo-colonial influence. His policies, aimed at bolstering local industries, reducing reliance on foreign aid, and fostering a spirit of Pan-Africanism, have invigorated a populace long weary of economic subjugation and political instability. However, such bold steps often come at a steep price. With all this, how did he become the target of attacks? Ibrahim Traoré's rise to power has been full of bold ideas and big changes aimed at improving Burkina Faso. However, these very actions have also made him a target for attacks. His vision for an independent and prosperous Burkina Faso threatens the interests of powerful foreign nations and local elites who have long benefited from the exploitation of the country's resources and people. The attacks on his life are not just random acts of angry opponents. They are well-planned actions by a mix of actors trying to keep their hold on power. Historically, Burkina Faso, like many African countries, has been influenced by powerful global forces seeking control. The nation's wealth and natural resources, like gold and cotton, has drawn the attention of foreign companies and governments. For decades, these external players have partnered with local elites, creating a system that hinders true progress and independence. Traoré's rise, with his commitment to ending this dependency, has shaken up this established order. How did he challenge them with actions, though? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. One of Traoré's boldest moves has been to take control of key industries, especially mining. By renegotiating contracts to ensure that more profits stay in Burkina Faso, he has challenged the usual way of doing things. This has upset powerful multinational corporations and their home governments, who are not used to such resistance from a leader of a developing nation. His economic policies have impacted these entities, leading them to try to undermine his administration. Traoré's push to reduce reliance on foreign aid and build up local industries has also caused tension. Many view foreign aid as a way to exert influence. By refusing aid that comes with conditions, Traoré has angered those who use aid as a control mechanism. This stance has branded him as a radical in the eyes of the global community, increasing the threats against him. Inside Burkina Faso, the challenges are just as intense. The previous regime's loyalists and various political factions opposed to Traoré's reforms are actively working against him. These groups, often supported by foreign interests, aim to destabilize his government through propaganda, bribery, and violence. The failed coup attempts highlight how far these factions will go to regain power. Each attempt shows the unstable political climate in Burkina Faso and the fragile nature of Traoré's position. Local elites, who have thrived on corruption and patronage, see Traoré's anti-corruption campaigns and calls for accountability as direct threats. His efforts to eliminate corruption and promote transparent governance disrupt established networks of influence and privilege, creating powerful domestic enemies. Traoré's foreign policy has also been controversial. His support for Pan-Africanism and stronger ties with other African nations, pursuing similar paths of independence, has been viewed with suspicion by Western powers. By building alliances with leaders who share his vision, Traoré has created a united front against neo-colonial pressures. While this is empowering for Africa, it has further alienated those who prefer a divided Africa, easier to control. The security situation in Burkina Faso adds another layer of difficulty. The rise of militant groups in the Sahel region, often with external backing, creates an environment of instability and fear. These groups, exploiting discontent and socio-economic disparities, pose a significant threat to Traoré's government. His efforts to address extremism's root causes through development and inclusive governance face resistance, as external actors benefit from the chaos and use it as a pretext for intervention. Traoré's safety is a constant concern. His security team must stay vigilant against assassination attempts and coordinated attacks. Intelligence reports have uncovered numerous plots against him, orchestrated by a mix of local and foreign actors. The complexity of these plots underscores the high stakes involved and the determination of his enemies. Despite these challenges, Traoré draws strength from the unwavering support of the Burkinabe people. His grassroots connections and genuine concern for their welfare have built a strong base of support that has so far resisted his adversaries' efforts. The people's belief in his vision acts as both his shield and his sword, allowing him to move forward despite the dangers. Traoré's ability to communicate his vision and rally the masses has been crucial to his resilience. His speeches, filled with messages of hope, resilience, and self-determination, deeply resonate with a population long yearning for change. This connection with the people makes it difficult for his enemies to turn public opinion against him, despite their best efforts. Moreover, Traoré has strategically built alliances with other African leaders who share his vision. These alliances provide mutual support and create a network of solidarity that collectively resists external pressures. By promoting a Pan-African approach, Traoré not only strengthens his position, but also contributes to a broader movement to redefine Africa's place in the world. In the grand story of African liberation, Ibrahim Traoré's tale is still being written. His life, marked by courage and conviction, stands as a symbol of hope for those who dream of a future where Africa is free from external control. Yet, it also serves as a reminder of the great risks faced by those who pursue such a future. But has something like this ever happened before to African leaders? Historically, African leaders who dared to assert true independence and self-determination have faced similar perils. Patrice Lumumba of Congo, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, and Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. All were leaders whose lives were violently cut short as they pushed against the currents of neo-colonial control. Their stories serve as stark reminders of the dangers Ibrahim Traoré faces as he walks a path fraught with peril. Patrice Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, is one of the most notable examples. Lumumba's vision for a united, independent Congo free from the exploitative grip of foreign powers made him a significant threat to the established order. His tenure was marked by efforts to gain full control over the country's rich natural resources, which had long been plundered by colonial and corporate interests. Lumumba's refusal to align with Western powers during the Cold War and his appeal to the Soviet Union for assistance sealed his fate. In 1961, Lumumba was arrested, tortured, and ultimately assassinated with the involvement of both Belgian authorities and the CIA. His death symbolized the extreme measures that would be taken to prevent African nations from slipping out of Western control. Thomas Sankara, often called Africa's Che Guevara, is another tragic figure in the history of African liberation. As the president of Burkina Faso, Sankara implemented sweeping reforms aimed at reducing poverty, fighting corruption, and promoting gender equality. His policies included land redistribution, nationalizing key industries, and rejecting foreign aid, which he saw as a form of neo-colonialism. Sankara's vision of self-sufficiency and his bold rhetoric against Western imperialism made him a target. In 1987, he was assassinated in a coup d'etat orchestrated by his close ally Blaise Compaoré, who had the backing of foreign interests opposed to Sankara's radical changes. Sankara's assassination underscored the dangers faced by leaders who challenge international norms and local power structures. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya presents a more complex narrative. Gaddafi came to power in 1969 through a military coup that ousted the Western-aligned monarchy. Over the years, he pursued a vision of Pan-Africanism and sought to reduce Western influence in Africa. Gaddafi used Libya's oil wealth to fund various African liberation movements and proposed ambitious projects aimed at unifying the continent. However, his regime also became increasingly autocratic, leading to significant internal opposition. In 2011, amid the Arab Spring, a NATO-led intervention, purportedly to protect civilians, resulted in Gaddafi's overthrow and brutal killing. The Western powers' involvement in Gaddafi's demise highlighted the geopolitical stakes in Africa and the lengths to which external forces would go to protect their interests. These historical precedents show a clear pattern. African leaders who pursue genuine independence and challenge the global status quo often meet violent ends. Ibrahim Traoré's situation bears eerie similarities to these past leaders. His efforts to nationalize industries, reduce foreign dependency, and foster regional unity echo the policies that led to the demise of Lumumba, Sankara, and Gaddafi. This historical context amplifies the risks Traoré faces and underscores the precarious nature of his position. Now the question is, how far the external forces can go to attack Traoré? The most recent attempt on Ibrahim Traoré's life was a stark reminder of the volatile situation he faced as the leader of Burkina Faso. Gunfire erupted near the presidential residence, sending shockwaves through the capital, Ouagadougou. This brazen attack not only caused immediate alarm, but also ignited public protests, with Traoré's supporters pouring into the streets to show their unwavering support for his government. These incidents highlight the urgent need for robust security measures to protect Traoré and stabilize his administration. The night of the attack was tense. As shots rang out near the presidential residence, it became clear that this was not just a random act of violence, but a targeted attempt on Traoré's life. Security forces quickly responded, engaging the assailants in a firefight that lasted several minutes. The attackers managed to escape, leaving behind a scene of chaos and fear. This attack was the latest in a series of attempts to destabilize Traoré's government and eliminate him as a political threat. The immediate aftermath saw a surge of support for Traoré. Thousands of Burkinabe citizens took to the streets of Ouagadougou, chanting slogans and waving flags in solidarity with their president. The spontaneous gathering was a powerful testament to the deep connection Traoré has with his people. Many of the protesters vowed to defend his vision for a new Burkina Faso, free from the shackles of corruption and foreign exploitation. This public outpouring of support was both a show of unity and a warning to those who seek to harm Traoré that the people stand firmly behind their leader. These public demonstrations underscore the immediate dangers Traoré faces. The assassination attempt was not an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern of threats that have dogged his presidency from the start. Each attack serves as a reminder of the precarious nature of his position and the powerful forces arrayed against him. The urgency of the situation calls for enhanced security measures to protect not only Traoré, but also the stability of Burkina Faso as a whole. Traoré's leadership has been characterized by a series of bold reforms aimed at transforming Burkina Faso into a self-sufficient and prosperous nation. However, these reforms have also made him many enemies. By challenging the entrenched interests of foreign corporations and local elites, Traoré has put himself in the crosshairs of those who stand to lose from his policies. The recent attack is a stark reminder that these adversaries are willing to go to great lengths to stop him. The need for robust security measures cannot be overstated. So, what is Ibrahim Traoré doing to make himself protected? In response to these escalating threats, Ibrahim Traoré has adopted a series of security measures, drawing inspiration from Russian methods known for their effectiveness in high-risk environments. His approach is multifaceted, combining increased personal security, advanced surveillance, and enhanced military capabilities to ensure his protection and stabilize his administration. These steps are crucial for maintaining his leadership and safeguarding Burkina Faso's sovereignty. Traoré has significantly expanded his security team, ensuring that he is surrounded by highly trained personnel at all times. This team includes experts in close protection, counter-surveillance, and crisis management. By recruiting former military and intelligence officers with specialized skills, Traoré ensures that his immediate environment is secure. These security personnel are trained to anticipate and neutralize threats before they can materialize, providing a robust shield against potential attacks. To monitor potential threats in real time, Traoré has also implemented cutting-edge surveillance technologies. These systems include a network of cameras, drones, and electronic monitoring devices strategically placed around key locations. The integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms allows for the real-time analysis of surveillance data, identifying suspicious activities and alerting security teams instantly. This proactive approach enables Traoré's security team to respond swiftly to emerging threats, minimizing the risk of successful attacks. Understanding the importance of a well-equipped security force, he has prioritized the acquisition of advanced military hardware. This includes modern firearms, armored vehicles, and communication systems. By upgrading the equipment used by Burkina Faso's security forces, Traoré ensures that they are better prepared to counter sophisticated threats. Additionally, training programs in collaboration with international partners enhance the skills of security personnel, ensuring they can effectively use the new technology and equipment. A key aspect of Traoré's security strategy is the strengthening of Burkina Faso's intelligence capabilities. This involves enhancing the collection, analysis, and dissemination of intelligence to preemptively identify and mitigate threats. By fostering collaboration between different intelligence agencies, both domestic and international, Traoré aims to create a comprehensive network that provides timely and accurate information. This intelligence-driven approach allows for informed decision-making and more effective security operations. Ensuring the confidentiality and integrity of communication is vital for Traoré's security. He has invested in secure communication systems that protect against eavesdropping and cyber attacks. Encrypted communication devices and secure networks enable Traoré and his team to coordinate effectively without the risk of interception. This is particularly important given the sophisticated nature of modern threats, which often include cyber components aimed at disrupting communication and gathering intelligence. Traoré has also placed a strong emphasis on fostering loyalty and professionalism within the military. By building strong relationships with key military leaders and ensuring that the armed forces are well compensated and respected, Traoré aims to secure their unwavering support. Regular training exercises, morale-boosting initiatives, and transparent leadership contribute to a cohesive and loyal military force. This unity is crucial in preventing coups and ensuring that the military acts as a stabilizing force in the country. Recognizing the transnational nature of many security threats, Traoré has sought to strengthen regional and international collaboration. This includes partnerships with neighboring countries to share intelligence and coordinate security operations. Traoré has also engaged with international allies to gain support for his security initiatives. By participating in regional security forums and alliances, Burkina Faso can benefit from collective security measures and international expertise. He also understands that his safety is closely linked to the support of the Burkinabe people. He has initiated community engagement programs to foster public trust and cooperation. By involving local communities in security efforts and addressing their concerns, Traoré aims to create a vigilant and supportive citizenry. Public awareness campaigns educate citizens about potential threats and encourage them to report suspicious activities. This grassroots involvement acts as an additional layer of security, making it harder for adversaries to operate undetected. Addressing the root causes of instability is a long-term component of Traoré's security strategy. By implementing economic and social reforms, he aims to reduce poverty, unemployment, and inequality, which are often exploited by adversaries to foment unrest. Development programs focused on education, healthcare, and infrastructure improve the overall well-being of the population, reducing the appeal of extremist ideologies and criminal activities. A more stable and prosperous society provides a solid foundation for sustainable security. Preparing for potential crises is essential for Traoré's security. He has established a comprehensive crisis management framework that includes rapid response teams, emergency communication systems, and evacuation plans. Regular drills and simulations ensure that all stakeholders are prepared to act swiftly and effectively in the event of an emergency. This preparedness not only enhances Traoré's security, but also strengthens national resilience against various threats. Also, Effective communication is a key element of Traoré's security strategy. By maintaining transparent and strategic communication with the public, Traoré can counter disinformation and build trust. Public relations campaigns highlight his achievements and reinforce his commitment to national security and development. By controlling the narrative and engaging with the media, Traoré can mitigate the impact of propaganda and maintain public confidence in his leadership. Let's end the video with one question. What are Traoré's motives for the future that scare external powers so much that they want to assassinate him? All he wants is initiatives to create jobs, reduce poverty, and improve living conditions. He wants enhanced collaboration with neighboring countries to address shared security challenges. And his goal is also a long-term strategy to build a resilient and united nation. Do you think these are enough reasons to make a nation hate him? Is caring about people's interests a valid reason to attack someone? Let us know in the comments section.
We are often aware of how the West has exploited and continues to exploit African resources. However, today, in this video, we will reveal how the UAE, United Arab Emirates, is stealing tens of billions worth of African gold every year. The UAE is deeply involved in looting gold from Mali, Sudan, the DRC, and other African countries. For instance, in 2022 alone, 93% of illegal gold exported to the Emirates originated from Africa, totaling 435 tons of gold, valued at approximately $35 billion. This constitutes 40% of Africa's gold production and 12% of the global total production.
We got a lot of chaos going on.
So, today, the illegal exploitation of African resources is not done mainly by the group traditionally known as the West. Today, African resources are exploited by several countries from different parts of the world. African minerals no longer belong exclusively to its people, Africans. They have become what I refer to as public or global wealth. The West, including the UK, France, Germany, the US, and others, will come and take whatever they want. Another group will come from Asia or the Middle East to take whatever they want, another from South America, and so on. Most of these activities are often not done legally. Even those that are said to be lawfully acquired are done with a colonialist and imperialist fist. Over the last decade, gold from Africa has become increasingly crucial for Dubai. Between 2006 and 2016, the share of African gold in UAE's reported gold imports rose from 18% to nearly 50%, according to Comtrade data. Customs data reveals that the UAE imported $15.1 billion, $11.6 billion worth of gold from Africa in 2016, surpassing any other country and significantly up from $1.3 billion in 2006. The total weight was 446 tons with varying degrees of purity, compared to 67 tons in 2006. Much of this gold was not recorded in the export statistics of African states. Trade economists interviewed by Reuters indicated that this suggests large quantities of gold are leaving Africa without any taxes being paid to the producing states. The data provided by governments to Comtrade, a United Nations database, indicates that the UAE has been a prime destination for gold from many African states for several years. In 2015, China, the world's biggest gold consumer, imported more gold from Africa than the UAE. However, in 2016, the UAE imported almost double the value of gold taken by China. With African gold imports worth $8.5 billion that year, China came a distant second, while Switzerland, the world's gold refining hub, came third, with $7.5 billion worth. In 2016, the UAE reported gold imports from 46 African countries. Of these, 25 did not provide Comtrade with data on their gold exports to the UAE. Despite this, the UAE reported importing a total of $7.4 billion worth of gold from these countries. Additionally, the UAE imported gold worth $3.9 billion, approximately 67 tons, from the remaining 21 countries, which is more than these countries reported exporting. Most of the African gold smuggled to the UAE ends up in Dubai. Trade data reveals that much of this gold is exported through states that are not major gold producers. One such country is Togo, which acquires its gold supply from Burkina Faso, the fourth largest producer in Africa. Reports indicate that virtually no taxes are imposed on gold in Togo. Leoncit Ndikumana, an economist who has studied capital flows in Africa, described this situation as a classic case of export under-invoicing, aimed at reducing taxes. According to a report by SwissAid, using data on declared and undeclared gold imports over a 10-year period ending in 2022, the Bern-based non-governmental organization estimates that the illicit trade amounts to between $23.7 billion and $35 billion annually, based on current market prices. More than 435 tons of bullion were smuggled out of Africa in 2022 alone. This illicit trade fuels conflict, finances criminal and terrorist networks, undermines democracy, and facilitates money laundering, according to the group. Smuggled gold mainly originates from 12 African countries, with the majority of the informal trade coming from Mali, Ghana, and Zimbabwe. An estimated $115.3 billion worth of bullion entered the UAE in the decade following 2012, the group stated. The bulk of Africa's illegally mined gold is funneled to Dubai through refineries in countries like Uganda and Rwanda, sometimes via private jet or directly in hand luggage, often accompanied by false papers. The emirate is home to at least 20 gold refineries and more than 7,000 traders in precious metals and stones. So, how is this gold smuggled out of Africa? In many African countries, including Mali, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Tanzania, DR Congo, and others, informal methods of gold production are widespread, known as artisanal or small-scale mining. This method has provided a livelihood for millions of Africans and has enabled some to earn more money than they could have ever dreamed of from traditional trades. It is through this system that gold is now being illegally produced and smuggled out of these countries on a vast scale, sometimes by criminal operations and often at a high human and environmental cost. At a mining conference in 2019, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, the largest gold producer in Africa, noted that artisanal mining began as small-time ventures. However, the romantic era of individual mining has given way to large-scale and dangerous operations run by foreign-controlled criminal syndicates. The black market trade of African gold is not a breach of the law for everyone. Some miners work legally and typically sell their produce to middlemen, who then supply it further. The middlemen either ship out the gold directly or trade it through Africa's permeable borders. This long process helps to obscure the main source of the couriers before they actually transport the gold out of the continent. For example, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, is a major gold producer, but its official exports are only a fraction of its estimated production. It is, of course, worrisome for us, but we have very little leverage to stop it, said Thierry Bolaki, director of the CC, the Congolese government body responsible for registering, valuing, and taxing high-value minerals like gold. The DRC loses approximately $1 billion annually due to gold trafficking. This illicit trade often routes through Rwanda and Uganda before the gold reaches Dubai. Despite Rwanda not having substantial gold mining operations, it reported $542 million in gold exports in 2022, primarily to the UAE, raising suspicions about the source of this gold. In 2019, Rwanda declared exporting 2,163 kilos of gold to Dubai, whereas UAE records showed 12,539 kilos of gold imports from Kigali in just the first 9 months of 2018, indicating possible smuggling activities. Similarly, Uganda, with limited gold mining activities, exported $2.25 billion worth of gold in 2021. Most of this gold is believed to be smuggled from eastern DRC, where well-established smuggling routes facilitate the illicit export of gold to neighboring countries and then to international markets like the UAE. In 2016, while the UAE recorded $1.52 billion in gold imports from Mali, Bamako reported only $216 million in exports. In 2014, Mali declared 45.8 tons of gold production, but Dubai recorded 60 tons of gold imports from Mali. This illicit trade is further complicated by armed groups in the Sahel region using gold proceeds to finance their activities. In 2021, terrorist groups in Mali's Gourma region fought to control gold mining sites, linking gold smuggling directly to conflict financing. Sudan's gold industry has been heavily influenced by the activities of the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and its leader, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, commonly known as Hemedti. In 2021, Sudan's finance ministry estimated that 80% of the country's gold production went unregistered. This unregulated production has significantly benefited the RSF, which controls some of the most lucrative mines, especially in the Jebel Amir region. Hemedti's family owns the Al Junaid Gold Trading Company, which plays a crucial role in this operation. The RSF has leveraged gold revenues to finance its operations and acquire arms, with the UAE being a primary purchaser of Sudanese gold. In 2019, the RSF acquired 1,000 vehicles from the UAE. Between 2012 and 2019, the Emirati gold trading company Kaladi acquired substantial amounts of gold from Sudan's central bank, sourced from mines controlled by violent militias like the RSF and the Sudan Liberation Army. Despite suspicions of $9.3 billion in illicit transactions by Kaladi flagged by the US, the case was dropped due to political pressure. The RSF's financial network extends beyond gold trading, with connections to various front companies and banks in the UAE and Sudan, enabling a robust economic base independent of Sudan's official military and civilian government structures. The ongoing conflict and economic instability in Sudan, and even other parts of the continent like the Sahel, continue to be exacerbated by these complex financial and military dynamics. And that is it for this video. What are your thoughts about it? How do you think African
streets are about to look very different. The West African nation just received a fleet of advanced electric buses from China. These aren't your average public transit vehicles. They're game changers that promise to revolutionize transportation in the country. The arrival of these Yutong electric buses marks a significant upgrade in Burkina Faso's public transportation system. These new vehicles are known for their reliability, efficiency, and modern features. They offer ergonomic seating and sophisticated climate control systems, ensuring a comfortable ride for passengers. This initiative is more than just about improving daily commutes. It aligns with Burkina Faso's goals of environmental sustainability and reducing carbon emissions. The introduction of these electric buses is expected to have far-reaching effects on urban mobility, traffic congestion, and air quality in the country's cities. It's a step towards a greener, more efficient future for Burkina Faso. But what exactly makes these Yutong electric buses so special? Let's take a closer look at the game-changing features that set them apart from traditional public transit vehicles. Yutong buses have gained worldwide recognition for their exceptional reliability, efficiency, and advanced features. These qualities have made them a top choice for modern public transportation systems across the globe. In Burkina Faso, the introduction of these buses marks a significant leap forward in the country's transit infrastructure. One of the standout aspects of these buses is their focus on passenger comfort. Each Yutong bus is equipped with ergonomic seating, carefully designed to provide optimal comfort during long commutes. This thoughtful design helps minimize fatigue for passengers, whether they're traveling through busy urban streets or along rural roads. Climate control is another area where these buses excel. Yutong has incorporated sophisticated systems that maintain a pleasant interior environment regardless of external weather conditions. This means passengers can enjoy a comfortable journey thanks to effective temperature regulation inside the bus, a feature that's particularly valuable in Burkina Faso's warm climate. But comfort is just the beginning. These buses are packed with cutting-edge technology aimed at enhancing safety and overall passenger experience. Advanced navigation tools are integrated into each bus, facilitating efficient route planning and real-time tracking. This technology ensures punctuality and reliability in service, addressing common issues faced by traditional public transit systems. What truly sets these buses apart from traditional public transit vehicles is their environmental impact. Unlike conventional buses that often rely on diesel or petrol, Yutong's electric buses produce zero emissions. This significant reduction in air pollution aligns perfectly with Burkina Faso's goals for a cleaner urban environment. The buses are designed to be fuel-efficient and environmentally friendly, reflecting global trends towards reducing carbon footprints and promoting sustainable transport solutions. This focus on sustainability doesn't come at the cost of performance, however. The Yutong buses are expected to lead to better managed schedules and fewer breakdowns, ultimately improving the overall quality of public transportation services in Burkina Faso. It's worth noting that the environmental impact of these buses goes beyond their day-to-day operation. The simplified mechanical design of electric buses contributes to a longer vehicle lifespan compared to traditional buses. This longevity reduces the frequency of fleet replacements, minimizing the environmental impact associated with manufacturing new vehicles. The introduction of these electric buses represents more than just a change in Burkina Faso's transportation system. It's a commitment to a sustainable future, a step towards cleaner cities, and a demonstration of the country's dedication to global environmental goals. As these buses hit the streets, they're not just transporting passengers but driving Burkina Faso towards a greener, healthier future. As Burkina Faso takes a significant step towards a greener future, the impact of these new electric buses extends far beyond environmental benefits. The arrival of Yutong buses is set to transform urban life in ways that many might not expect. How exactly will these vehicles reshape Burkina Faso's cities and the daily lives of its citizens? One of the most immediate and noticeable changes will be in traffic patterns. The introduction of Yutong buses is expected to have a positive impact on traffic congestion. By providing more reliable and efficient public transportation options, these buses can help reduce the number of private vehicles on the road. This shift has the potential to significantly alleviate congestion in urban areas, particularly during peak hours. The advanced features of Yutong buses play a crucial role in improving overall service quality. Each bus is equipped with cutting-edge navigation tools that facilitate efficient route planning and real-time tracking. This technology ensures punctuality and reliability in service, contributing to better managed schedules and fewer breakdowns. As a result, commuters can expect more dependable and timely transportation services. These improvements are not going unnoticed by local residents. Many have expressed enthusiasm about the arrival of Yutong buses, citing improved comfort and punctuality as game changers in their daily lives. One local commuter stated, "The introduction of Yutong buses is a welcome development. It means more reliable and comfortable journeys, which make a big difference in our daily lives." The benefits of these new buses extend beyond just easing traffic flow. The efficiency of Yutong buses is expected to lead to increased ridership. This shift towards public transportation can contribute to a cleaner, more sustainable urban environment by further reducing traffic congestion and pollution. Moreover, the government's investment in these buses is part of a broader strategy to enhance urban mobility and improve quality of life for citizens. By improving transportation options, the government aims to ensure easy access to essential services such as education, employment opportunities, and recreational facilities. This initiative has the potential to create more connected and livable cities. The introduction of Yutong buses is also a strategic move to address the challenges of rapid urbanization and increasing population density, particularly in cities like Ouagadougou. As urban areas continue to grow, reliable and efficient public transportation systems become pivotal in managing the increased demand for mobility. This initiative positions Burkina Faso at the forefront of innovative public transportation solutions within the region. By setting a new benchmark for public service excellence, the country not only enhances its image, but also becomes more attractive to potential investors. This could foster economic resilience and stimulate further urban development. The impact of improved transportation infrastructure extends to various aspects of urban life. It's known to stimulate economic activities, spur urban development, and enhance overall productivity. These factors contribute to long-term national prosperity. potentially transforming Burkina Faso's urban landscape and economy. Perhaps most importantly, the acquisition of Yutong buses symbolizes Burkina Faso's commitment to inclusive growth and societal advancement. By ensuring equitable access to modern transportation, especially for underserved communities and marginalized groups, this initiative promotes social equity and cohesion. It fosters a sense of unity and collective progress among citizens, potentially reshaping the social fabric of Burkina Faso's urban areas. As these buses begin to operate on Burkina Faso's streets, they bring with them the promise of smoother traffic flow, improved air quality, and enhanced urban mobility. However, their impact reaches far beyond these immediate benefits. They represent a shift towards more sustainable, equitable, and efficient urban living, a transformation that could redefine life in Burkina Faso's cities for years to come. While the environmental benefits of Burkina Faso's new electric buses are clear, their impact extends far beyond cleaner air and reduced emissions. These buses are set to spark a wave of economic growth and job creation across the country. But how exactly will a fleet of buses drive economic progress? The introduction of Yutong electric buses in Burkina Faso is poised to create a ripple effect throughout the economy. One of the most significant impacts will be on employment. The deployment of these buses is expected to generate job opportunities across various sectors. New roles will emerge in bus assembly plants, maintenance facilities, and charging station installation. This influx of jobs will provide a boost to local employment, offering new career paths for many Burkinabe. The electric bus initiative also has the potential to foster the growth of a domestic electric vehicle industry in Burkina Faso. As the country gains expertise in operating and maintaining these advanced vehicles, it may attract private sector investments and encourage technological innovation. This could lead to the development of a local industry focused on electric vehicle components and related technologies. The economic benefits extend beyond direct job creation. A modern and efficient public transportation system enhances Burkina Faso's appeal as a tourist destination and business hub. Improved urban mobility and reliable infrastructure make the country more attractive to foreign investors. This could lead to increased investment in various sectors of the economy, promoting sustainable economic growth. The government's commitment to modernizing public transportation is likely to catalyze collaborations with private sector stakeholders. Public-private partnerships are expected to play a crucial role in the development of charging infrastructure, fleet expansion, and service enhancement initiatives. These partnerships could bring additional investment and expertise to Burkina Faso's transportation sector. To encourage private sector participation in the electric bus ecosystem, supportive policies and incentives are anticipated. These may include tax incentives for electric vehicle purchases and regulatory frameworks that prioritize sustainable transportation solutions. Such measures could further stimulate economic activity and innovation in the sector. The adoption of these advanced buses aligns with Burkina Faso's broader goals of sustainable development and improving quality of life for its citizens. This commitment to sustainable practices is likely to attract additional investments focused on long-term infrastructure and development projects. As a result, the impact of the electric bus initiative could extend far beyond the transportation sector, influencing the country's overall economic trajectory. The economic benefits of the electric bus project are not limited to urban areas. As the initiative expands, it has the potential to create economic opportunities in rural regions as well. This could lead to more balanced regional development and reduce economic disparities between urban and rural areas. The introduction of modern amenities such as air conditioning, ergonomic seating, and real-time passenger information systems in these buses is expected to enhance the overall commuting experience. This improvement in service quality could lead to increased ridership, generating more revenue for the public transportation system and contributing to its long-term sustainability. As Burkina Faso embraces this innovative transportation solution, it positions itself as a leader in sustainable urban development in West Africa. This forward-thinking approach could attract attention from international organizations and development partners, potentially leading to further support and investment in the country's infrastructure and economic development initiatives. The arrival of these electric buses from China marks more than just a step towards a greener future for Burkina Faso. it signifies a new chapter in the relationship between the two nations. But what led to this partnership, and how might it shape Burkina Faso's future? In May 2018, Burkina Faso made a significant shift in its foreign policy by resuming diplomatic relations with China. This decision aligned the West African nation with the One China principle and opened doors to new opportunities for cooperation and development. The renewal of ties between Burkina Faso and China quickly gained momentum. In January 2019, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi visited Burkina Faso, reaffirming China's commitment to supporting the country's development agenda. This visit set the stage for a multifaceted partnership encompassing trade, investment, infrastructure development, and security cooperation. China's involvement in Burkina Faso's infrastructure projects has been particularly noteworthy. Chinese investments have played a pivotal role in driving economic growth and enhancing the country's capacity to meet its developmental goals. The provision of electric buses is just one example of China's contribution to Burkina Faso's infrastructure development. Security cooperation has emerged as a cornerstone of the bilateral relationship. China has pledged support to Burkina Faso in its fight against terrorism and efforts to maintain regional stability. This commitment extends beyond words, with China providing military vehicles and UAVs to strengthen Burkina Faso's defense capabilities. The partnership between China and Burkina Faso extends beyond bilateral relations. In 2018, Burkina Faso actively participated in the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation (FOCAC). This engagement underscores Burkina Faso's commitment to deepening its ties with China within the broader framework of China-Africa relations. The FOCAC summit provided a platform for Burkina Faso to engage with other African nations and China on strategic partnerships, economic cooperation, and development initiatives. These discussions aimed at advancing shared prosperity and addressing common challenges faced by African nations. China's economic support to Burkina Faso has been substantial. A significant aid package to the G5 Sahel force exemplifies China's commitment to fostering sustainable development in the region. This assistance not only bolsters Burkina Faso's capacity to address security challenges, but also enhances its resilience against socioeconomic vulnerabilities. The implications of this partnership extend far beyond the immediate benefits of infrastructure development and economic aid. For Burkina Faso, it represents an opportunity to diversify its international partnerships and access resources crucial for its development agenda. The country stands to benefit from China's expertise in areas such as technology, agriculture, and renewable energy. For China, the partnership with Burkina Faso aligns with its broader strategy of engagement with African nations. It provides China with an opportunity to expand its influence in West Africa and secure access to potential markets and resources. However, the growing partnership between China and Burkina Faso has not been without challenges. Critics have raised concerns about the long-term implications of Chinese investments and the potential for economic dependency. Balancing the benefits of Chinese support with the need to maintain economic sovereignty remains a key consideration for Burkina Faso's policymakers. As Burkina Faso and China continue to strengthen their ties, the impact of this partnership on the region's geopolitical landscape remains to be seen. What is clear is that this new chapter in China-Burkina Faso relations has the potential to significantly influence Burkina Faso's development trajectory in the coming years. As Burkina Faso takes this step towards a greener future, many wonder what other transformations lie ahead. The arrival of these electric buses marks more than just an upgrade in transportation. It signals a new era of progress and modernization for the country. Local commuters have shown enthusiasm for the new buses, expecting improved comfort and reliability. One resident shared, "The introduction of Yutong buses is a welcome development. It means more reliable and comfortable journeys, which make a big difference in our daily lives." This transportation upgrade is set to enhance urban mobility, reduce traffic congestion, and improve air quality in cities. Beyond these immediate benefits, the initiative is expected to create jobs in bus assembly, maintenance, and renewable energy sectors. It may also foster the growth of a domestic electric vehicle industry. As these buses roll out onto Burkina Faso's streets, they carry with them the promise of a brighter, more sustainable future for the nation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. There's a very good saying, nothing brings a team together like a common enemy. Although I'm not a big fan of the word enemy, it is just too strong and way too categorical. The way I see it is nothing brings a team together like a common goal, especially if that goal revolves around decolonization and stopping the exploitation of your country and its people by the same actors who have been in the business of taking advantage of others for centuries. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are establishing closer ties and uniting. On July the 6th, the three countries announced that they're forming a brand new union, a confederation of Africa's Sahel region. The three military leaders met during a summit in the capital of Niger and signed a confederation treaty that is focused on two things, on defense and on economic cooperation. The agenda also included border security issues, the fight against terrorism, and economic development. Primarily, under this new agreement, the states will create an investment bank and a stabilization fund. Additionally, they agreed to develop further cooperation in agriculture, in energy, and in transportation. The three states are even discussing establishing a new Sahelian currency to replace the French franc. Imagine that. As you may recall, France actually created the CFA franc to support their continued exports from the Sahel region. The CFA franc, if you're not too familiar with this, the CFA franc is a French acronym, and when you translate it from French to English, the CFA actually stands for African Financial Community.
Questo si chiama franco CFA. È la moneta coloniale che la Francia stampa per 14 nazioni africane, alle quali applica il signoraggio e in forza delle quali sfrutta le risorse di questa nazione. Questo è un bambino che lavora in una miniera d'oro in Burkina Faso. Il Burkina Faso è una delle nazioni più povere del mondo. Per il Burkina Faso, che ha l'oro, la Francia stampa moneta coloniale. In cambio pretende che finiscano nelle casse del tesoro francese il 50% di tutto quello che il Burkina Faso esporta. L'oro che questo bambino si infila in un cunicolo per tirare fuori finisce per lo più nelle casse dello Stato francese. Allora la soluzione non è prendere gli africani e spostarli in Europa, la soluzione è liberare l'Africa da certi europei che la sfruttano e consentire a queste persone di vivere di quello che hanno.
So the new union is an important step towards limiting Western influence on these countries, as well as limiting the export of raw materials to Western developed nations. Not only did the leadership of Burkina Faso, of Mali, and Niger made French and American military leave their territories, but also they are now taking active steps, as you can see, to regain control of their territories, to move away from Western so-called allies, and to collaborate regionally in supporting security and economic ties. These countries are determined to stop the West from profiteering from extreme inequality and exploitation of their natural resources. As we know, Africa has been suffering from extreme lack of stability, from poverty, from human crises, refugee crises, from terrorism and wars, you name it. The new alliance is effectively an alternative to ECOWAS in a way, and hopefully it will help provide some stability to these three countries, both in terms of security and hopefully economically. As you may recall, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger actually withdrew from ECOWAS, which stands for Economic Community of West African States. They did that earlier this year after they were sanctioned following military coups d'etats in these states. The Sahel region, where these three countries are located, has opposed the French domination for years, for decades. All three states opposed the Western influence in ECOWAS, and they show no interest in returning to the bloc that is known for its close ties to France, for example, among other Western nations. Despite the fact that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are effectively under a military dictatorship, the main focus of these leaders is to stop the exploitation of their natural resources and therefore the people by Western powers. These three countries are among the poorest nations in the entire world, and they have been that way for decades. During the colonial times and up until now, effectively, Western countries extracted natural resources virtually for free and then shipped these valuable materials back home. These resources were then subsequently used to produce finished goods, which then were sold back to these poor nations, poor countries, as well as other countries around the world. And they were sold back at much higher costs, of course. Western nations did not really prioritize any type of investments into these countries that they exploited, other than the construction of facilities and transportation routes to move resources. Therefore, these African countries that are extremely resource rich never truly had a chance to exist outside of that colonial reality that I just described. The leader of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, has been determined to get rid of any Western influence. This leaves the West guessing effectively. Are African raw material export bans a form of protectionism or self-determination? The Sahel is an important source of gold, uranium, manganese, and iron ore. After the 2020 coup, Mali's president created a new mining code which increased potential state ownership of new projects to 35% from 20%. After the 2021 coup in a neighboring country, the military began pressing international mining companies to invest more in national mining operations, introducing more demanding local content requirements, and pushing miners to refine their output locally. In Niger, they imposed a moratorium on all state export contracts with the intention of reviewing them to improve their commercial fairness, a provision which includes pegging prices of exported minerals to trading prices quoted on international exchanges. So we're seeing African countries either limit exports of raw materials, tell international countries, look, you need to build factories here and you need to refine our resources here locally, creating jobs in our countries, or they choose to increase prices of these raw materials globally. A recent article in Foreign Policy clarifies resentment of French neo-colonialism is motivating a backlash against Paris across West Africa. This is clearly the driving force behind Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger forming stronger and stronger ties. Foreign Policy goes on to explain, the military president of Niger, Chani, has called for France to pay damages to longtime African client states like his for years of what he has likened to looting. In Burkina Faso, next door, another military leader, Ibrahim Traoré, has vowed never to allow his country to be dominated by Europeans again. Additionally, just several months ago, it was reported that 3 French diplomats were kicked out of the country over subversive activities in Burkina Faso. Of course, France denied that there was any wrongdoing on their part, and France said that these allegations were unfounded. You may ask, did the French and other European leaders know that they were exploiting countries and that it was absolutely evil to do that? Well, of course they did. For example, former French President Jacques Chirac said in an interview, don't forget one thing, and that is that a large portion of the money that we have in our purses comes from the exploitation of Africa over the centuries. So we need a little measure of good sense. I didn't say generosity, he said, but good sense and justice to render to Africans, I would say, what we took from them. This is necessary if we want to avoid the most severe turmoil and difficulty with all of the political consequences that this will bring in the near future. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are effectively leading the way in Africa to show their neighbors that they too can fight against neocolonialism and seek unity on mutually beneficial terms with their neighbors. Africans clearly are desperate and they're in need of a change, and that change cannot come to fruition as long as they're robbed of their natural resources and as long as they face inhumane living conditions precisely because other, stronger nations have gotten used to taking advantage of weaker states. I'm very interested to see whether the Sahel region manages to truly take advantage of this opportunity and reinvest in its development, to focus on social needs and to work on the infrastructure that's needed to provide basic necessities for their population. Let me know what you think about this.
In recent days, Russian forces have continued to brilliantly annihilate NATO air defense systems, including Ukraine. They are unable to protect themselves from Iskander missiles. Today, on July 7, 2024, the Russian Ministry of Defense published the scene of the destruction of the air defense system of a NATO proxy armed formation near Yuzhnoye in Odessa region. A Russian reconnaissance drone spotted American Spada 2000 and Patriot SAM batteries and Swedish Giraffe radar station. After the hard work of Russian intelligence officers, Iskander is not long in coming. During combat duty, the crew of the Iskander operational tactical missile system launched missiles from Crimea, far from the line of contact, but delivered a crushing blow and caused enormous damage to the enemy. 2 Patriot launchers were destroyed and burned. This was at least the 5th battery in Ukrainian service, which was destroyed in the last 30 days. Also, 1 Giraffe radar station was converted into a dud. Those radars are hard to replace.
They can't even shoot it down.
The day before, Ukraine counted the losses of its military equipment in Poltava region. This is even further from the front line. Objective control systems confirmed the involvement of S-300 air defense systems deployed near Koptevo. As a result of the heavy impact by Russian Iskander missile, the following details were destroyed, namely 2 S-300 launchers, a low-altitude detector and guide, 1 combat control vehicle, motor vehicle, and 40 anti-aircraft crew personnel were lost during the attack in the missile impact area.
Supposed to be the best air defense system. Here's that.
Concerns are mounting over a potential escalation in the Ukraine conflict. New footage appears to show Russia utilizing its most powerful glide bomb, a 3.3-ton weapon capable of inflicting severe damage. Military experts warn the munition could pose a significant threat to Ukrainian defenses. On Thursday, June 20th, 2024, or possibly just before, a Sukhoi Su-34 fighter bomber unleashed the Fab 3000 for the first time in combat. Its target, a multi-story building in Liptsi, a mere 10 miles north of the embattled city of Kharkiv in northern Ukraine. Russian intelligence had pinpointed this structure as a crucial staging area for Ukrainian troops. The Fab 3000, equipped with pop-out wings and sophisticated satellite guidance, was designed for precisely such high-value targets.
Terrorizing Ukraine with that bomb. They scared to death with that bomb.
The following day, another Su-34 took to the skies, carrying another one of these monstrous bombs. Its destination, another large building suspected by the Russians to be harboring Ukrainian forces. The Fab 3000's defining characteristic, its unified planning and correction module, allows it to function as a glide bomb, granting the Su-34 the ability to launch the weapon from a significant distance, keeping the bomber out of harm's way from Ukrainian air defenses. The impact of the Fab 3000 is undeniably brutal. Its detonation triggers a colossal fireball that engulfs the surrounding area. The sheer force of the explosion rips through everything in its immediate path, although in this instance, the blast zone primarily consisted of debris from earlier clashes. This colossal Russian glide bomb promises earth-shattering devastation, but questions swirl around its effectiveness compared to its sleeker, smaller sibling, the Fab 1500. The sheer size of the Fab 3000 presents a fascinating paradox. While its payload promises devastation, its hefty frame could significantly limit its range. Typical Russian glide bombs boast a respectable 25-mile range, but the Fab 3000, with its bulky build, might struggle to achieve the same kind of distance. Imagine a weightlifter attempting a graceful pirouette. The image just doesn't quite fit. However, when it comes to raw destructive power, the Fab 3000 paints a different picture. Recent strikes, though slightly off-target, showcase the Fab 3000's terrifying potential. According to Fighter Bomber, a popular Russian telegram channel, the Fab 3000 unleashes a bone-crushing blast that extends over 200 yards, propelling lethal fragments a mind-boggling 1,200 yards further. Imagine the scene, a single bomb creating a zone of destruction the size of 2 football fields.
They're dropping them all over the place.
Here's where the plot thickens. Fighter Bomber, despite acknowledging the Fab 3000's immense blast zone, considers even a 30-foot miss a successful outcome. Yet the channel proposes a scenario that seems counterintuitive. They suggest that an Su-34 bomber armed with a trio of Fab 1500s, each weighing a hefty 3,300 pounds, could have unleashed even greater devastation. The key factor here is the Su-34's carrying capacity. This aircraft can only handle one Fab 3000 at a time, while it can accommodate a formidable threesome of Fab 1500s. Fighter Bomber argues that a 3-pronged attack with the smaller bombs would be far more effective in terms of directly hitting targets. Think of it like throwing darts. 3 well-placed darts are likely to hit the bullseye more consistently than a single massive one. So, the mystery deepens. Why choose the solitary, colossal Fab 3000 over the strategically superior option of deploying 3 Fab 1500s? Fighter Bomber offers a cynical explanation. The Fab 3000 might be more of a propaganda tool than a practical weapon.
It's a weapon.
In March 2024, Russia's defense ministry ramped up production of several munitions, including the massive Fab 3000, alongside the existing Fab 500 and Fab 1500. A key feature of these munitions is their convertibility. All three can be transformed into glide bombs, equipping them with deployable fins for enhanced range and targeting flexibility. However, the Fab 3000's sheer weight cast a shadow. Integrating this behemoth with existing aircraft might prove challenging, potentially requiring adjustments to Russia's aerial arsenal. The Fab 3000 stands as a titan among conventional bombs. Developed by the Soviet Union and still in use today, this behemoth weighs a staggering 3 tons and packs a warhead containing 1.4 tons of TNT. This explosive payload makes the Fab 3000 a weapon of immense destructive power, capable of inflicting catastrophic damage on its target and the surrounding area. While its origins lie in the Cold War, the Fab 3000 has received a 21st century upgrade. The addition of the Universal Modular Planning Kit, UMPK, transforms it from a dumb bomb reliant solely on gravity for guidance into a smart weapon. This sophisticated kit integrates advanced GPS and inertial navigation systems, enabling the Fab 3000 to strike targets with pinpoint accuracy. This enhanced precision minimizes collateral damage and ensures that the bomb's destructive force is directed towards its intended target. But the UMPK offers more than just accuracy. It grants the Fab 3000 an impressive extended range. With this upgrade, the bomb can be guided a staggering 50 miles from the point of release. This extended reach offers a significant tactical advantage. Russian aircraft can now deploy the Fab 3000 from a safe distance, significantly reducing their exposure to enemy air defenses. The Fab 3000's versatility adds another layer to its significance. Unlike specialized munitions, the Fab 3000 can be deployed from a wide range of Russian aircraft, making it a seamless addition to their air power. This flexibility allows for strategic strikes from various platforms, potentially tipping the scales in Russia's favor. Russia's deployment of the Fab 3000 bomb in Ukraine is a serious escalation. Analysts at the Institute for the Study of War warn of its high potential for destruction, especially if Ukrainian forces lack effective countermeasures.
They can't stop it.
Glide bombs, unlike traditional bombs, have long been a thorn in Ukraine's side. These weapons boast flight control surfaces, allowing them to be launched from a significant distance, often exceeding the reach of Ukrainian air defenses. Their short flight time, minimal radar signature, and unpredictable trajectory make them incredibly difficult to intercept. A potential glimmer of hope emerges. Ukrainian forces plan to counter this threat with F-16 fighter jets, the first of which are expected to appear on the front lines this summer.
Whatever. We've already been showing those airfields been blown up, so that glimmer of hope ain't gonna come to light, buddy. Oh, they hoping Ukraine can stop the Russians. I don't think so.
I take a couple days off, and when I get back, I learn the Russian army opened yet another front, and that the first Ukrainian lines of defense are collapsing. On the 18th of June, Russian Group Center launched a surprise offensive towards the Ukrainian stronghold of Tarietsk. Here the Kyiv Post reported, Russia swoops on Ukraine's once calm Tarietsk. The Guardian, residents flee as war arrives in Tarietsk. I visited Tarietsk. Oops, I mean Toretsk. I promise. The situation is under complete control.
Because it's all bad news.
Now the dramatic part is that Ukrainians held these fortifications for 10 years. And now, just like that, they're all getting wiped out. I'll tell you what happened. Ukrainians got finessed, just like in Avdiivka, through a tunnel. A freaking tunnel. Again! Even worse, in a follow-up attack, another wave of Russian assault squads are approaching a village called New York. Call of Duty called it yet again. Of course, Radio Free Europe coped hard by stating, Russia says it captured Donetsk village as Ukraine targets Crimea. The Russian advanced 4 kilometers towards this town of New York, and near Pivnichne, they pushed 3 kilometers deep over a 6-kilometer front. Ukrainian troops are already fighting tooth and nail in the middle of the urban area of Pivnichne. At this point, fierce fighting continues. After each retreat, the Ukrainians launch devastating counterattacks in order to at least partially regain control of the lost positions. To make matters even worse, the Ukrainian army is seriously feeling the lack of manpower. A number of Ukrainian units composed of conscripts simply abandoned their combat positions.
Our men flee the battlefield,
thus handing over the first lines of defense to the enemy. Вы понимаете, why are such tactical debacles happening more and more? The Ukrainian armed forces are being pulled apart left and right along the entire front, and this makes it difficult to effectively plug the gaps with competent military personnel, namely battalions of newly mobilized Ukrainian conscripts. From an operational perspective, the Russian army is trying to eliminate these two salients, some sort of modern-day battle of the bulge. The first one is centered on the urban area of Taretsk, but the second one is centered on Siversk. There, it's the 106 Guards Airborne Division that was tasked with putting down this stubborn bulge. If these salients fall, Ukraine will be facing multiple Bakhmut-sized urban battles very soon. Welcome to History Legends, and here are the latest news of the Russo-Ukrainian War. If you're new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. As you know, some of my Ukraine videos have been targeted with limited or no ads. So make sure to check out my Patreon or PayPal to keep the show running. Thank you to everyone that has already helped, and welcome to the headquarters. Let's start with the battle for the Taretsk salient. As you can see, this sector is heavily fortified. There's literally one layer of entrenchments, one after the other. Most of these fortifications actually date back from 2014. At its center lies the urban area of Taretsk, inhabited by roughly 50,000 inhabitants before the war. The salient increased in size after the Russian breakthrough at Ocheretine. All of a sudden, Ukrainian forces now had to protect a 45-kilometer front. At the same time, the Taretsk salient is extremely strategic because it separates the Battle of Chasiv Yar from the Russian push on the Avdiivka front. Do you want to laugh? Check this out. According to the clowns of the Institute of the Study of War, the main Russian forces concentration in the Taretsk area is formed of lower quality forces of the Donetsk People's Republic and territorial troops, which will likely struggle to properly execute attacks. I swear, these guys, you can't make this up. This goes to show they completely got fooled by Russian maskirovka. In the meantime, Russian forces used the urban area of Orlivka to camouflage their attack force from NATO satellites. This sector remained more or less calm until the 18th of June, when Ukrainian drones dropped their loads on enemy troops. Problem is, this happened 2 kilometers behind the contact line. By the end of the day, Russian forces positioned in Mayorsk advanced 1.3 kilometers towards these buildings of the local water pumping station, and another 2 kilometers along this tree line towards the settlement of Druzhba. Fuck. I actually have a video to show you from this exact position. Here we can easily recognize the 3 white pedestrian bridges going over the railway tracks. So that seems to have been the first position captured by Russian assault squads after a BMP disembarked them there. Then the drone is recording a squad of roughly 8 Russian soldiers. In the next frame, they're heading westwards along the train tracks, and they will do so for almost 2 kilometers. Then these Russian infantry units started clearing the first buildings of Pivnichne one by one. Here you can see what the progression must have looked like along the train tracks until they reached Pivnichne. By the way, the Russians call this place using its old Soviet name Kirove. In this firefight, the Russians come under heavy enemy artillery fire. Shortly after, this unit of 15 to 20 men are running away from the building. Eventually, a tank comes to support the Russian assault squads. From what I can see, Russian assault detachments only faced sporadic resistance from the Ukrainians. Why do you think? I'll give you a hint. Guess how the Russians achieved this breakthrough? That's right, with the tunnel. These naughty Donbass coal miners. Again! It's always the same pattern. Russian division commanders use infiltration tactics and local tactical breakthroughs to break the gates open in order to launch a major offensive using hidden reserves. We saw this happen in Avdiivka, Ocheretine, and now Tarietsk. Even worse, Arestovich, the former advisor of President Zelensky, said the following in an interview.
У нас прорыв под Торецком. Могу вам привести случай. На одном из ключевых участков фронта позавчера 6 батальонов отказались выполнять боевую задачу. Соседних. 6.
Now, 6 battalions seems a bit exaggerated to me, but we could definitely be talking about 6 platoons that fled. So around 250 soldiers. Using a 3D map, if we take a look at this area, we notice there are a lot of these man-made hills. Those are deposits that come from the surrounding mines and that are just piled into large waste heaps. In this video, you can see what they look like from a first-person view. These mounds are very similar to the one we saw near the Avdiivka coke plant. Now, since there used to be heavy mining in this sector, this also means extensive underground infrastructure. You know what? One day we should ask Bald and Bankrupt to explore these abandoned Soviet underground structures in Donbass. Long story short, Russian GRU units pulled out their old Soviet maps and found this abandoned pipeline. Starting on May 14th, the Donbass coal miners started restoring it. Just like in Avdiivka, the plan was to use it as a Trojan horse to bring troops deep inside enemy territory. From what I've read online, the tunnel was built from the settlement of Mayorsk along the Seversky Donetsk Canal for 3 kilometers up to the highway going to Pivnichne. It was also mentioned that former Wagnerians formed the spearhead of the attack. The surprise effect was total and they completely overwhelmed Ukrainian defenders. Even worse, these Ukrainian troops belonged to the 401st Separate Rifle Battalion of the 41st Mechanized Brigade, composed of conscripts from Odessa. Not only that, but there's also a big drama to another unit attached to the 41st Mechanized Brigade, namely the 206th Territorial Defense Battalion. This Ukrainian soldier on Twitter stated that casualties are high, many KIA and wounded. He also said that senior commanders are generally unable or refuse to objectively assess the capabilities of their subordinate personnel. Meanwhile, in this conversation, a soldier is blaming the commander of the 41st Mechanized Brigade, a brigade that performs the most idiotic tasks without any tactical plan. In order to delay the advance of the enemy infantry for 10-15 minutes, it comes at the price of 10-15 Ukrainian lives. So, summary, what I think happened. The tunnel attack created massive panic behind Ukrainian lines, pushing many units to flee and abandon their combat positions. Then this allowed the first wave of Russian troops to advance along the train tracks, facing sporadic enemy resistance. As you can see on the map, the other drama is that these Ukrainian troops abandoned their excellent fortifications to the enemy. June 20th, round 2, this time with the complete collapse of Ukrainian defenses in the sector. This was some sort of historical moment. About this, United 24 wrote, Tarietsk has been a Ukrainian stronghold for 10 years. Now Russia is trying to take it. I'm pretty sure Russian soldiers in that sector are already yelling, Tarietsk, Nash. From a tactical perspective, Russian assault detachments got a foothold inside the first houses of Druzhba. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces had to withdraw 800 meters along this tree line. However, the feat of arms of the day was the fall of the village of Shumy. 2 days later, by the 22nd of June, a new wave of Russian detachments cleared the remaining Ukrainian entrenchments along this 2-kilometer tree line and brought back some POWs back to the rear. Now we have Russian army soldiers edging right at the outskirts of the villages of Druzhba and Pivnichne. It was just a matter of time before they would release their troops into the urban area of Tarietsk. Obviously, Ukraine had to counterattack, but with what units? In this video posted on the 27th of June, we see one of the Ukrainian POWs captured in the sector of Shumi. We learned that he's a junior sergeant, more specifically a combat medic, and that he was mobilized in April 2022 as part of the 24th Mechanized Brigade. This information is confirmed by this pro-Ukrainian deployment map, which indeed shows the 24th Mechanized Brigade deployed in and around Tarietsk. Fun fact, the 24th Mechanized is the oldest brigade of the Ukrainian army, as it was created in 1992. Fun fact number 2, I found these pictures of mechanics of the 24th Mechanized Brigade. We have to admit these men form the backbone of the unit, as they're the ones repairing and refurbishing all the vehicles of the brigade. What seems to have happened in Tarietsk is that, according to the Ukrainian command, this sector was considered to be calm. So many subunits of the 24th Mechanized Brigade were dispatched left and right across the front. Here, according to Reuters, part of the brigade was deployed near Chasiv Yar. 100% Russian intelligence and recon units must have spotted this transfer of forces over the last few weeks. The Ukraine command also positioned a lot of newbie units just to fill in the gaps. By the 28th of June, assault platoons of the 24th Mechanized Brigade counterattacked from Pivdene. That's how they cleared this tree line and regained this other one. However, the same day, Russian assault detachments popped out 3 kilometers beyond the front line and got a foothold inside Pivnichne. If all this seemed catastrophic, on July 1st, for Canada Day, 7 kilometers southwest of Pivnichne, Russian Group Center opened a new axis of attack in the Tarietsk sector. First-line Ukrainian units started calling HQ for immediate support. I don't know, probably the Ukrainian HQ thought it was unjustified panic by some conscripts, until 24 hours later, when Russian troops had broken through and penetrated Ukrainian lines for 4 kilometers. Yes, the Russians are at the gate of New York. Think about the symbolism of this event. This follow-up Russian offensive was supported by numerous artillery strikes, FAB bombings like this 3-ton bomb, shattering entire buildings and structures, whereas smaller underground positions were taken care of by FPV drone strikes. The concentration of firepower combined with the surprise effect led many Ukrainian units to flee from the battlefield, like this one that was eventually ambushed by drone-dropped grenades. According to the latest news, Russian forces expanded their area of control from Yurivka towards the first houses of the Petrovskaya mountain neighborhood. There it was said that more than a company of Ukrainian military personnel deserted from their combat positions. On the other side of the battle, on July 3rd, elements of the 95th Air Assault Brigade were transferred from the Kremina front towards the eastern outskirts of Tarietsk. Those reinforcements were much needed, since the 24th and 41st Mechanized Brigades had to abandon most of its fortifications along a 7-kilometer front. Meanwhile, forward elements of the Russian army are already taking positions deep inside Pivnichne. And as you can see, the Battle of Pivnichne has already turned into messy urban warfare. And the dramatic part is that the Ukrainians barely have prepared defensive positions inside this area. In this video, Ukrainian artillery is striking every building that could be hiding enemy troops. Meanwhile, this Ukrainian soldier is firing his rifle, and then we see him reloading his GP-25 single-shot grenade launcher. At the same time, the Russian troops from the water pumping station also received additional reinforcements, which allowed them to expand their foothold inside Druzhba. But now they're also pushing into Pivnichne from the right flank. At this point, we can expect the Russians to enter New York and clear Ukrainian positions eastwards and westwards. On the 5th of July, there was this drone footage of a Russian sapper detonating a building with enemy troops somewhere in this area, meaning Russian army units could be diverting from the Petrovskaya mountain neighborhood and push northeast instead. Meanwhile, Russian assault detachments will most likely storm Pivnichne from the east via Druzhba, but also from this direction on the left flank against this set of high-rise buildings. Since this area has been heavily shelled by Russian TOS flamethrowers, It's possible that the Russian army will also attack in the center using the cover of this forested area. This will most likely force the Ukrainian army to withdraw from Pivnichne and concentrate on this secondary line of defense along the road crossing over the settlement, which the Russians could try to overwhelm and flank from the east. Meanwhile, further north, there is another salient that the Russians are trying to eliminate. This bulge, centered on the settlement of Siversk, has been holding strong since the summer of 2022. Now, for the Russian command, the problem is that if the Ukrainians want to launch another counteroffensive this year, the Siversk salient is a proper candidate. This salient points directly towards Lysychansk. It's only 12 kilometers away. The Ukrainians could also push towards Popasna and encircle Bakhmut, the big dream of Ukrainian General Syrsky. And on top of that, the Ukrainians could also break through in Crimea and attempt to reconquer Severodonetsk. So the Russian command decided to reduce the bulge using the 106 Guards Airborne Division. Over the course of the last weeks, we witnessed heavy artillery duels in and around the salient. As you can see with this footage from the 2nd of June, Russian counter-battery fire targeted Ukrainian artillery units in Siversk. In this one, they destroyed an enemy tank. As you can imagine, the goal of this battle of attrition was to diminish Ukrainian firepower as much as possible, most likely for large-scale offensive operations. On the 4th of June, Russian paratroopers of the 137th Regiment from Ryazan launched a motorized attack on Razdolivka along the railway line. During the assault, this MTLB armored vehicle was fired at, and while maneuvering out of enemy fire, it got stuck in the trench. Overall, this armored push was halted by a quick reaction by Ukrainian FPV drone operators. 4 days later, another Russian counter-battery strike using guided ammunition, Krasnopol, targeted a Ukrainian self-propelled howitzer located south of Siversk. On one end, Ukraine is getting more artillery shells. On the other, they're losing the howitzers necessary to fire them. That same day, on the 8th of June, the Russian Paras launched another attack against Razdolivka, this time 1,800 meters east from the railway line. Once again, the Ukrainians reacted swiftly and annihilated the enemy motorized rifle units. As you can see in this footage, Russian vehicles were struck by drone-dropped grenades, their entrenchments by artillery strikes, and their infantry by FPV drones. We can also quickly analyze this close-quarters combat action. There's a Ukrainian fire team of 4 soldiers defending some underground position and a trench line. And despite being flanked, they managed to repel the enemy fire team, using a combination of better tactics, but mostly FPV drone strikes. These soldiers actually belong to the K2 battalion of the 54th Mechanized Brigade. That I already told you about. Long story short, the Russian attack on Razdolivka was not going well. On the 12th of June, the commanders of the Russian 106 Airborne Division changed the cadence and attacked in the direction of Vimka. The operation was successful, and the paratroopers advanced 1,700 meters between the railway line and this road. As for Razdolivka, June 4th, fail, June 8th, fail. But we all know, third time's the charm, right? The Russian regiment commander in that sector tweaked his plan and went back on the attack. His assault detachment swarmed these Ukrainian tree lines from all directions. Even worse, one armored column reached the eastern end of Razdolivka. In this footage, we can see 2 BMPs approaching the village. The first one managed to disembark its infantry component, but as you can see, it's still very far away from the first buildings. And to make matters even worse, the vehicle got destroyed on its way back to base. Meanwhile, the Russians also pushed out from Vesele and gained 1,600 meters. Using a 3D map, we can notice their assault detachments managed to get hold of these literal hilltops, all the way up to the small forested area. After that, it will be 8 kilometers of flat, open terrain until Siversk. Meanwhile, on the 13th of June, a Russian FPV drone struck a Ukrainian MTLB west of Lysychansk, most likely for medevac or during a rotation. This is very important because from an operational perspective, we can believe the objective of the Russian 106 Guards Airborne Division is to converge towards Siversk. by attacking through three main axes, namely Razdolivka, Vesely, and Vinka. But they could also turn this triple action into a lovely foursome, with a Russian flanking maneuver towards Verkhnokamianske. Because take a look at this, here from the 21st of June, we see Russian drones harass Ukrainian troops. More importantly, we notice how smashed and lightly fortified Ukrainian positions actually are in this sector. Meanwhile, the Russians can't seem to capture the legendary stronghold of Spirne, so they're just turning it into a pile of ruins. So if one day the Russians actually take hold of Spirne and secure it, this could be a fifth axis of attack towards Siversk. According to the latest news on the 6th of July, Russian units raised the white-blue-red flag at the center of Spirne and claimed control over the eastern half of the settlement for the 20th time. On the 25th of June, using a UAV, the paratroopers dropped their divisional flag and attached it to the chimney of a factory at the center of Razdolivka. 4 days later, Russian telegram channels announced that the 106th Guards Airborne Division had established complete and confident control over the village. However, this seems to have been premature. In reality, on the 2nd of July, it was said that airborne units had just established a foothold inside Razdolivka. This is when fighting intensified and the entire settlement now laid in the gray zone. For example, in this video, a Ukrainian squad that had just disembarked from this armored vehicle was ambushed by drone-dropped grenades. Now with potentially 5 axes of attack from the south and the east, all that's missing is an attack from the north, and it's in the bag. But the Ukrainians prepared for that. Here from the Washington Post, US lifts weapons ban on Ukrainian military unit, aka the Azov Battalion. Do you remember Captain Palamar? He was captured in Mariupol with the bulk of Azov. On the 21st of September 2022, as part of a prisoner of war exchange, Palamar was released from Russian captivity. Captain Palamar is now deputy commander of a reformed Azov brigade, known under its official name, the 12th Special Brigade Azov. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all this is that the Ukrainians launched a preemptive strike in the Kremina forest. That's how on the 15th of June, Azov assault detachments and men from the 1st Presidential Brigade Burevi of the National Guard stormed the Russian positions in the Serebryansky forestry. That day, they captured an area 2 kilometers long and 1 kilometer deep. Thing is, Azov guys have PTSD from urban warfare. So now they prefer to fight in the middle of nature, forest and swamps, as far as they can from industrial areas. In this footage, we can see what this so-called forest looks like. The shattered trees barely provide any cover anymore, with this sinuous path of this trench line that Ukrainian artillery units shell in preparation of the assault. In this video, you can see how this Ukrainian assault squad is clearing an enemy trench network. The moment they receive fire, they respond quickly, throw smoke grenades, and then try to flank the position from above while throwing grenades. By the 29th of June, the Ukrainians made some more gains in the Serebryansky forestry, this time along the Donetsk River, inching their way towards Severodonetsk. In response, Russian aviation dropped a couple of FAB-500 bombs on the enemy in an attempt to halt them. Meanwhile, further north, Ukrainian forces also advanced 1,300 meters east of Terny and canceled the territory the Russian army had gained throughout February 2024. So keep an eye on the Battle of Siversk, since both sides are trying to flank the other and it's a mess. That's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section what you
with China continue to rise, we wanted to know more about the current state of the U.S. Navy and how it's trying to deter China.
Buildup is aimed at meeting Beijing's goal of having a world-class military by 2049.
In the realm of modern warfare, innovations in missile technology are rapidly changing the current military environments. China made headlines recently with its own versions of aircraft carrier killer missiles that completely changed the way we looked at the Titanic aircraft killers. Unsurprisingly, the nation did not stop there and revealed yet another development that serves as a mighty counter for US warships. Today's episode will uncover China's remarkable Fire Dragon 480 missile that is next in line to obliterate US warships with relative ease. The Fire Dragon 480, a long-range rocket produced by the Norinco Group for export, has sparked significant interest in military circles. According to a study conducted by the People's Liberation Army, PLA, this missile has the potential to sink US warships. The Fire Dragon 480, already exported to countries like the United Arab Emirates, is said to be capable of destroying a Ticonderoga-class cruiser with a precise strike. The findings were published in the academic journal Command, Control, and Simulation, adding a layer of credibility to the claim. The strategic deployment of these missiles, in combination with a swarm of drones and innovative tactics, suggests that an average of 6 rockets would be needed to take down a large US warship. The study highlights the effectiveness of the Fire Dragon 480, particularly in scenarios involving coordinated drone attacks. This research is timely given the current geopolitical climate, where groups like the Houthis in Yemen have been targeting shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Their attacks, aimed at disrupting supplies to Israel following the genocide in Gaza, have included strikes on various vessels, including a Chinese-owned tanker and US military assets. Despite these aggressive actions, there is no confirmed damage to the US Navy. However, the persistent attacks have undoubtedly strained US naval operations. The Fire Dragon 480 stands out due to its precision-guided sensors, allowing it to hit moving targets with remarkable accuracy. This missile, with a warhead exceeding a whopping 400 kilograms and an impact velocity of over 500 meters per second, is designed to cause significant destruction. According to Li Jiangjiang, a scientist with the PLA's 92228 unit, 2 such missiles could obliterate a 10,000-ton cruiser. The missile's export record includes a notable $245 million deal with the UAE, part of the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen. While it's commonly believed that the Fire Dragon 480 has a range of 290 kilometers, practical applications could extend this to over 500 kilometers. The missile can be launched from mobile-wheeled platforms, making it a versatile and cost-effective weapon. This adaptability is crucial in the harsh environments where these missiles are likely to be deployed. The main point here being the missile is set for export to foreign nations with multiple batches already sent out, so it is pretty likely that it will see the face on conflict in tons of different environments. When compared to US warships equipped with advanced defense systems, there is a general assumption that such missiles would struggle to be effective. However, the simulation carried out by the PLA paints a different picture. In the exercise, 12 Fire Dragon 480 rockets were launched at 2 Ticonderoga-class cruisers. The US ships, armed with Mk-41 vertical launch systems and various air defense missiles like the Standard 6 and Sea Sparrow, mounted a robust defense. Despite this, one of the cruisers was sunk, demonstrating the potential lethality of the Fire Dragon 480. In an alternative simulation, some rockets were equipped with swarm warheads containing 6 drones each. These drones, released as the rockets approached their targets, aimed to divert the cruiser's defensive fire and provide precise targeting data for a subsequent rocket strike. This tactic further reduced the survivability of the Ticonderoga-class cruisers, emphasizing the threat posed by coordinated drone and missile attacks. What does this mean for the future of naval warfare? Could these tactics change the balance of power on the high seas? The drones used in these scenarios, similar to the Switchblade 600, have an operational radius of over 40 kilometers. They are relatively inexpensive and readily available on the international market, adding to their appeal for military use. While these drones are vulnerable to close-in weapon systems like the Phalanx, their integration with long-range rockets enhances their threat level significantly. To fully realize the potential of the Fire Dragon 480 and its drone swarm tactics, China needs to upgrade its long-range rocket launcher systems. Enhancing anti-interference capabilities and improving data links between rockets and drones are essential steps for actual combat effectiveness. The US Navy is gradually phasing out its Ticonderoga-class cruisers in favor of more modern vessels, with the last cruiser set to be retired by 2027. This transition reflects a broader shift in naval strategy, acknowledging the evolving threats posed by advanced missile and drone technologies. The PLA's study underscores the importance of staying ahead in the technological arms race. Are the current defense systems sufficient to counter these new threats, or will future conflicts see a greater reliance on unmanned and precision-guided weaponry? The Fire Dragon 480's capabilities extend beyond its impressive range and payload. Its ability to be deployed from mobile platforms makes it a strategic asset in various combat scenarios. This flexibility is particularly relevant in regions like the Middle East, where terrain and logistics can pose significant challenges. The missile's precision and destructive power are not just theoretical, they have practical implications for any military force considering its deployment. The UAE's acquisition of these missiles highlights their value in modern warfare. China's advancements in missile technology, exemplified by the Fire Dragon 480, reflect its growing influence in global military affairs. The development and export of such advanced weaponry indicate a strategic move to bolster allies and extend its geopolitical reach. How will other nations respond to China's increasing military capabilities? Will we see an arms race as countries seek to counter these new threats? The tactical use of drones in conjunction with missiles like the Fire Dragon 480 represents a significant evolution in military strategy. Drones offer real-time intelligence and can act as force multipliers, enhancing the effectiveness of missile strikes. This synergy between unmanned systems and traditional weaponry is shaping the future of combat, making it more dynamic and unpredictable. As nations develop and refine these technologies, the nature of warfare is set to change dramatically. With much about China's remarkable Fire Dragon 480 missile that is next in line to obliterate US warships with relative ease covered, it is time to wrap this one up. If you have any topics in mind,
He told us China's new generation bomber can carry long-range missiles and has extended range attack capability.
the realm of military aviation is abuzz with whispers and speculations as China reportedly develops an impressive new stealth bomber capable of rivaling even the best of the rival aircraft. Imagine a development so strong, the world remains stunned at just the mere thought of the invention patrolling the skies, while its biggest rivals remain invested to find out how to counter this development. Today's episode will uncover the mysterious new JHXX bomber, which still remains submerged in secret development efforts by the PLA Air Force. China's military modernization continues to intrigue and amaze global observers, particularly with the rumored development of the JHXX stealth bomber. This new aircraft could potentially rival the capabilities of the US military's most advanced aerial assets, positioning China as a formidable force in terms of stealth and offensive power. The JHXX first caught the public's attention in 2019, but it remains shrouded in secrecy. Conceptual renders show a versatile twin-engine jet equipped with stealth features and long-range missile capabilities, suggesting it could play a significant role in regional dominance. Designed for striking targets up to 2,000 kilometers away, the JHXX could effectively contest airspace in the East and South China Seas. Despite the lack of official confirmation, China's rapid advancements in military technology indicate that the JHXX could soon emerge as a significant threat. The modernization of China's military has been ongoing for more than a decade, bringing the country closer to surpassing the US in technological capabilities. Yet, the closer China gets, the more American leaders seem to downplay the threat. But how long can this attitude last? The JHXX, part of the People's Liberation Army Air Forces, PLAAF fleet, has been receiving increasing attention, particularly as the US unveils its stealth bomber, the B-21 Raider. The US Defense Intelligence Agency first mentioned the JHXX in 2019. Alongside the JHXX, another aircraft, the H-20 tactical fighter bomber, has been a topic of interest. While the H-20, with its long-distance, heavy, subsonic stealth capabilities, has garnered attention, the JHXX remains an enigma. Its true capabilities are still unknown, even to intelligence professionals. Information about the JHXX primarily comes from scattered sources, most notably a Chinese publication, Aerospace Knowledge, which featured a concept render of the JHXX on its cover. This render showed a sleek, stealthy jet with twin engines, a large bomb bay, and side weapon bays for long-range air-to-air missiles. The design hints at a blend of speed, stealth, and versatility, suggesting a potential role as both a regional bomber and an interceptor. Imagine an aircraft capable of striking targets within a 2,000-kilometer radius, allowing China to contest airspace controlled by the West, such as in the East and South China Seas, and even the Yellow and Japan Seas to China's northeast. The JHXX high speed could also make it a formidable opponent in dogfights with Western forces. However, there's little concrete evidence proving the existence of the JHXX. The PLAAF has remained silent about the project, and industry leaders have been reticent to share details. This secrecy has led many to question whether the JHXX is real or just a figment of military imagination. Military projects often remain shrouded in secrecy, and only time will tell if this mysterious bomber will take to the skies or remain an underdevelopment monster in military aviation trials. One should not underestimate China's capacity for military development. They have innovated at a pace much faster than many in the West care to admit. If Beijing decides it needs a stealth bomber, China has the resources and political will to develop it in secrecy and reveal it to the world without warning. This new JHXX, while still shrouded in secrecy, is anticipated to be a faster, possibly carrier-capable fighter bomber that could complement the H-20 by providing versatile strike options against regional targets. These developments highlight China's intent to enhance its stealth technology and long-range military capabilities, with significant implications for regional security. Much has been written about China's Xi'an H-20 stealth bomber, which could challenge US air superiority and signal China's status as a military power. With a flying wing design, the H-20 has been compared to the US Air Force's B-21 Raider. Despite sparse details, the H-20 has earned the moniker Storm from analysts, indicating its potential to alter the strategic balance between the US and China, especially in the Pacific region. The H-20 isn't the only stealth bomber in development by Beijing. The JHXX, confirmed by the US intelligence community, has set off alarm bells in the Pentagon. Warnings suggest it could be a fighter bomber capable of long-range strikes and potentially even nuclear weapons delivery. An early 2019 report from the Defense Intelligence Agency highlighted that the PLAAF is developing new medium and long-range stealth bombers to strike regional and global targets. The report noted that stealth technology is a key component in these developments, with operational capabilities possibly achievable by 2025. Although few details about the JHXX have been disclosed, analysts suggest it might resemble the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor or F-35 Lightning II more than the B-21 Raider. This implies it might trade range and payload capacity for speed and potentially enhanced dogfighting capabilities. The JAHXX could also be similar to the proposed FB-22, a bomber variant of the F-22 Raptor. While the F-22 lacks long-range bomber characteristics and has an operational range of only 600 miles, the FB-22 proposed an airframe capable of carrying 15,000 pounds of weapons. It is not 100% clear on what is going on with this development. All we can do is speculate and connect the dots when bits and piece of information is revealed to the public. This secrecy gives the JHXX a significant edge over top US aircraft. By keeping its true capabilities under wraps, China forces its rivals to operate in the dark, making it harder for them to develop effective countermeasures. The element of surprise alone can provide a strategic advantage, potentially outclassing even the most advanced US aircraft. As China continues its military advancements, the JHXX represents a significant step in bolstering its stealth and offensive capabilities. This mysterious aircraft could soon become a critical component in China's military strategy, challenging US air superiority and altering the strategic balance in the region. How will the US respond to this emerging threat? Will the JHXX remain a secret, or will it soon dominate the skies? The answers to these questions will shape the future of military aviation and the ultimate balance of power between the titans. The JHXX, with its potential speed, stealth, and versatility, could redefine the dynamics of aerial warfare in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. With much about mysterious new JHXX bomber, which still remains submerged in secret development efforts by the PLA Air Force covered, it is time to wrap this one up. If you have any topics in mind,
unfolding this weekend that are pretty crazy, and I want to cover them for you today. While you were busy, of course, enjoying your overpriced 4th of July barbecue, the price of meat has like tripled. I don't know if you've noticed, thanks to Bidenomics. A bombshell report hit Washington this weekend, and you might actually have missed it while you were spending time with your family. So the Washington Post is reporting this bombshell. Top Democratic donors are up in arms, openly demanding that President Biden now step aside right now for the sake of the party and for the sake of the country. Yes, you heard that right. Democratic donors are saying enough is enough, and they're holding back their money, huge amounts of money. No money means no campaign ads. No money means you can't pay people off, right? So in a shocking letter to the White House, influential Democratic donors made it clear that they would not finance the party's 2024 campaign until Biden steps down. Can you believe it? The same people who put Biden in office are now turning their backs on him. He served his purpose. You know, as Tucker pointed out, it's as if the whole time they've been willfully ignorant that this was happening.
But I watched CNN and they had the presidential debate, the US presidential debate. And maybe some of you saw it. And if you did, well, it was amazing. It was amazing on every level. But what was especially amazing was afterward, they went to the panel of assembled Democratic operatives posing as journalists, and all of them were like shocked to discover that Joe Biden has dementia. Like they couldn't believe it. What? Oh my gosh. He's non-compos mentis. No way. Are you serious?
Telling us it's simply a stutter. He's just stuttering. We didn't know that Biden's brain was a pile of pudding, but it goes beyond the donors. CNBC also reports that retail investors are in full-blown panic mode. Yes, the average investor who has a little bit of money to invest right now, they're in panic mode right now. So when hedge funds start dumping record amounts of tech stocks like there's no tomorrow, you know something's up. What does this have to do with Joe Biden, you might be asking? Well, let's paint the picture for you. The backbone of the Democratic Party is quaking because investors lack confidence in Joe Biden's ability to lead the nation out of its economic woes. Jerome Powell in Europe this week says we are on an unsustainable path.
The United States is running a very large deficit at a time when we're at full employment And it just is, the level of debt that we have is not unsustainable. The path that we're on is unsustainable. That's completely non-controversial.
Yes, that's why experts are now predicting interest rate cuts as soon as September, now because of this inflationary crisis. This will drive investors away from the US dollar and into gold. As Zero Hedge reports, hedge funds are offloading tech stocks at a record pace and flooding the market. That's leaving retail investors holding the bag. They're getting screwed. It's a financial disaster in the making, folks. People are suffering. Wall Street jitters reflect Main Street fears. It's more than just poor leadership. It's about a president so blinded by his own self-interest that he can't see the country falling apart before his eyes. I mean, just look at the national debt right here over my shoulder. Despite all of the data is pointing right now towards a meltdown, President Biden refuses to step aside. This is classic narcissism, folks. Even CNN's Dr. Gupta is calling for Biden to undergo a cognitive test and tell the world the results.
Now, if he were my patient, if he were my dad, frankly, I would want to get more testing done, cognitive testing and more detailed movement disorder testing as well.
But you know he won't do that, and it's pretty bad that CNN is calling for this.
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test.
And even CNBC's own investigative report tells us that the Democratic Party is at a total panic standstill right now. Major donors who were the lifeline of the 2020 campaign are now yanking the financial rug out from underneath Biden. Even the heiress of Disney says she's withholding money until Biden drops out. This is unprecedented. Disney, one of the most woke organizations in the world, is holding money away from Biden? We are standing on the edge of an economic cliff right now. But don't worry, Biden believes he has the full support of his party.
That Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark's not. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race.
Can you believe the nerve? Who's feeding this man his lines? Axios recently released a piece outlining Biden's apparent disregard for genuine concerns from his own party. The party is splintering, donors are ditching, and the American people are caught in the crossfire. So why won't Biden listen? There's only one explanation. He's a demented narcissist, perhaps the worst kind of narcissist. A narcissist can't put the needs of others first, even when the country's future is on the line.
You know, the heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
This is textbook psychology, folks. Biden is more concerned with his legacy than the people he was elected to serve. History will remember this, and not kindly. The man occupying the Oval Office refuses to bow out gracefully. Put the nation's well-being first instead of himself. America, it is time to wake up right now. That's the news update part of
updates for you on Joe Biden, and they are disastrous. So let's get started. We got defections in the House. 5 Congress members have already pulled out, saying no, enough. That's actually 5 just today. I'll get to that in a second. There's calls coming from the House, inside the House. I don't mean the House of representatives, I mean the White House. That I think that one's devastating. Could turn into a bit of a Jamie Lannister moment. We'll get back to that in a second. Devastating article in the Washington Post. Top establishment figures turning on Joe Biden. His top former advisors turning on Joe Biden. So we've got a tsunami of bad news in that direction. Although, if you want, of course, to beat Donald Trump, that it's all good news because Joe Biden at this point, as I've pointed out many times, has almost no chance of winning. So the quicker you get a new candidate, the better. And we'll get into at the end, yes, but how we're going to pick the new candidate, is it going to be Kamala or not? There are developments in that direction as well. I'll give you all of those updates, but Chet, good timing, because I was just going to tell you, look, it is literally true that the only way that this is possible is because of our paying members. They've kept us afloat while almost all the companies have died off in this era in digital media. And in this day and age, we need more than ever, because a lot of folks left when we said there's something wrong with Biden. They didn't want to hear that. And so, but the folks that stayed and said, I want the truth. I don't want red MAGA. I don't want blue MAGA. I'm non-MAGA. I'm the people who actually want reality, objective reality. And it's okay if you have your perspective and you see us disagree within each, within the different hosts and within the network, et cetera, all the time. And sometimes with our own members, but that's beautiful and that's healthy. And I love this community for it. And Chet Lee, thank you for gifting Young Turks membership. And that's why I do the member shout outs during the live, videos that I do. And we do it all the time during the live show, Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you're watching the live show. It has all of the updates and all the details that you need. Look, we're a rare show that actually does the news and gives you actual reality and facts, and then does perspective and context. And it's okay to do both as long as you clearly label it. Okay, so let's do it here. So number one, Washington Post noticed the same thing that I did in the Avalanche article. They have, it's just, I'm going to start with something small and go to something larger. And did you notice that in that Stephanopoulos interview that Joe Biden did, when Stephanopoulos asked him, hey, did you rewatch the debate to see how your performance was? He said, I don't think I did, no. Brother, the debate was a week ago. You don't remember? If you rewatched the most famous debate in American history at this point, certainly in our lifetimes, and that you were involved in, and that might have single-handedly sunk your campaign. Look, I'm not saying he had to rewatch it. It was painful for us to watch it. I imagine for him, it would be enormously painful to rewatch it. But I just need you to know whether you watched it or didn't watch it. And so, look, if you say, hey, Cenk, you're over extrapolating, and so is the Washington Post, etc. You can't say he didn't remember. That's my point. He definitely remembers. So what he's pausing there, even in this state, he's got to remember that minimum fact. My point is that he's pausing to see, wait, are we pretending I watched it, or are we pretending I didn't watch it? And he's not sure. Look, even on ABC News, even right after the interview, there was speculation about how he was holding a pen, and that people with Parkinson's hold pens to make sure their hands don't shake. Look, I don't want to get into the, medical opinions on his potential Parkinson's. I think that's people have made an excellent case for that. But more importantly, and for today, the whole point is the tidal wave of people being concerned about Joe Biden. So in the larger article, they talk about how his team has bungled a response. Again, we can blame his team all day long. Absolutely. And you hear me blaming them and Jill Biden. I think it's not misdirected to say that. But at the same time, there's one decision maker here, and it's Joe Biden. And he's got to make this decision. And not only that, he's got to be responsible for his actions. So, they're saying, well, the usual stuff. Did they prepare him well enough? And did they bungle the post-debate reaction, right? Should they have gotten him out there more and have him do more campaign events and more interviews and unscripted? But guys, you're not getting it. The problem is Joe Biden. He can't do those things. So what do you want the staff to do? Wrap him up in duct tape and send him out? And that's kind of what they've done. And that's why it looks so bad. There's only one correct answer here, which is that he can't do it anymore, which leads us to the biggest story. And then I'll get to the rest of the tsunami as well, because they're all really important. even Adam Schiff turning on him, which we'll get to in a second. But one last thing from the Washington Post. They said about the reaction that Biden and his team had to the concerns after the debate, they characterized it, or one insider did, as, quote, a deafening silence. Meaning, like, what are you guys doing? Why aren't you going, oh, we're going to do the interviews and the events, etc. And the reason there's that deafening silence is not because they're morons, but because there isn't anything they can do. Biden is not up to it. If they threw him into those interviews and those events, he'd get slaughtered, and then people would say, why'd you throw him into those things? The bottom line is the call's coming from within now. Anyway, which brings us to this. I think this is the most important news event of the entire weekend, and I don't know why it's not getting more attention, especially because it's in the New York Times. So let me quote the Times for you guys. They said one senior White House official, however, who has worked with Mr. Biden during his presidency, vice presidency, and the 2020 campaign, said in an interview on Saturday morning that Mr. Biden should not seek re-election. That is the King's Guard. That is one of his top advisors. I've got more of that quoted for you in a second, but even Jen Psaki on air today on MSNBC was like, not a lot of people that fit that description. And there's one that we're all thinking of. I don't want to out a person without being sure, and I don't know, right? But what that seems to be describing is someone that is in the very, very inner circle of Joe Biden. And that person is now putting up a hand and saying, we're done here, guys. In fact, let me read you the rest of it. After watching Mr. Biden in private, in public, and while traveling with him, the officials said they no longer believed the president had what it took to campaign in a vigorous way and to defeat Donald J. Trump. The official who insisted on anonymity in order to continue serving said Mr. Biden had steadily showed more signs of his age in recent months, including speaking more slowly, haltingly, and quietly, as well as appearing more fatigued in private. Come on, it's totally over. Totally over. That call is coming from inside the house, inside the Praetorian Guard, inside the King's Guard. That's Jamie Lannister screaming from the castle, somebody do something. It's already over. But if they put their name to it, then it does become a Lannister moment. And guys, of course, only politically, right? But I'm saying if one of the King's Guard goes on the record and says, I've seen the brother this whole time, he just can't do it, that would definitely end the proceedings. So that's one potential way that this ends. Not the only way, but a giant potential, okay? Red Barker, thank you for gifting 5 Young Turks memberships. You're awesome, Rhett, and I appreciate you, brother. And so, look, I spend these Sundays giving you these updates because they're important. My God, the country's on the line. And guys, the good news is if you care about news, yeah, we might have a mess here, and there might be 100 things that go wrong in this election, and God knows what happens afterwards. But you're in the middle of history right now. And that is an amazing place to be. I mean, right now, we have no idea what's going to happen. We have pretty good idea that Biden's going to be forced to step down. I'm going to give you more on that in a second. But then what do we do after that? I think there's a good idea on what we should do, but are we going to do that? Nobody knows. Who's going to be the new candidate? Nobody knows. There's only 4 months left to the election. This is as exciting and amazing as it gets. And this is dealing with a person who's having senility issues. The other candidate's a lunatic. Nothing's being done about that. So we'll get to him in due time. And I hope that the Democrats straighten out their house so that they could get the focus back on Trump, who's the real problem. And I'm going to say one more quick positive thing before I get back to the bad news for Biden. Look, you're seeing in some of the polls that even though Biden is an absolute disaster and 80% of Americans say that he's not mentally well enough to be president. I mean, that's a stunning number, 36% approval rating, like near record lows, stunningly low, terrible. But Trump's not pulling away. You know why? Because people don't like Trump either. And so all we got to do is put up some sort of candidate who the country thinks is functioning. And then you've got a great chance of beating Trump. I don't think this is a close case, but as you know, I've been saying that for a year, and it appears that both me and the members got it right. Our eyes were not lying to us, our ears were not lying to us. He really was in this kind of trouble. So that brings us to the more of the Praetorian Guard turning on him. Jen Psaki saying that, remember, she was, of course, the press secretary, and oh my God, the libs love her, right? And she's the most loyal to the president, and that's why I said it's her being on MSNBC is a bit absurd. But here, even she has to break a little bit, okay? And she says, "What's going to happen, and what's the best path forward?" I'm not going to sit here this afternoon and tell you I know the answer to that, to either question. Damn. I mean, everybody expects a loyalist like Psaki to come out and drop a Psaki bomb and go, "Of course, Biden, sir, he's the greatest, sir. Of course, what, this is an absurd conversation. Of course he shouldn't drop out." Instead, she does the opposite. And she's like, "I don't know. Maybe you should stay. Maybe you should go." That's damning right there in and of itself. And in fact, she said, "I would say it went just okay for the president," referring to the ABC interview, which he needed to be a home run. And she's basically saying it wasn't. When the interview ended, it left us all in this sort of purgatory for the moment. It was better than the debate, not a home run at all. And she said, "The clock is ticking. That's just a fact." Damn. That is really harsh coming from somebody that close to Joe Biden. But again, they're not trying to hurt him. Jen Psaki loves Joe Biden. I don't love Joe Biden, but Jen Psaki does. And even she's saying, "Come on, Joe. Come on, Jill. What are we doing here?" Like, I speak political language. I'm bilingual. I also speak real American language, regular person language. This is political language for my hair's on fire. I obviously can't say anything more than this. It would be too much of a betrayal. But I'm telling you right now, I'm super worried and I think he should drop out. That's my translation of her political speak. But it doesn't end there. Adam Schiff, the most establishment of all establishment Democrats. He says, first of all, given Joe Biden's incredible record, given Donald Trump's terrible record, he should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close. And there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age. Now, look, Biden and his team have supported Adam Schiff throughout his whole career. They had his back in the California primary. So for Schiff, Shifty Schiff, I'm just kidding. No, Schiff is doing the right thing here. I don't agree with him politically. I think he's way too conservative, corporate establishment, all those things. I wish he'd lost the primary. I can't be any clearer about Adam Schiff. But my point here is even some of the most conservative establishment Democrats in the country are saying it's the age. Adam Schiff should normally, under normal political landscape and context, be kissing Biden's ass in this interview, going, "Oh, this is outrageous. I can't believe anyone's even suggesting it. Joe Biden's the greatest president we've ever had," right? When he says, "I'm concerned about his age," that means he's got to go. We all talked it over. He's got to go. Okay, more from Adam Schiff, also equally devastating. But first, thank you to Cameron Tripp, saying that you placed your vote for me. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for the super chat, but also thank you for this. Yeah, wore it today. Hey, guys, look, you guys who supported me, we knew, we didn't know it was a long shot, to say the least. Of course. But what were we trying to do? We were trying to shake things up because we knew Biden couldn't do it. And we were trying to bring in different candidate in. I talked about bringing in the Democratic governors to get any candidate that could actually beat Donald Trump. And we were right about that. You should be I did a video for the members right before this, thanking them for it and telling them, which is true, you should be super proud that you got it right all along. And we all together as a community had the courage to act, even though a lot of people, for us viewers, probably for you family members, said you were crazy and that you should just support Joe Biden. You were helping Donald Trump, and you withstood all that in your search for truth. And that's part of the reason we set up this company. So I'm super proud of the members. And thank you for writing that in. Gums Vibe just asked in a super chat, what do I think about Hillary replacing Joe Biden? The Turks have a saying for that, Amanha, which means, no, watch out, don't do that. No, what's the point? She already lost to Donald Trump. That is the one person we clearly should not pick. Parker Daw, thank you for the super chat. yes, we should actually be concerned about his day-to-day activities, not just the campaign. All of the things that he does on the campaign is, and his team is doing, is to just get him over the finish line of the election. But what happens in the next 4 years? I have more updates, including from Schiff in a second. Last one for now. Kyle Johnson says, I felt like it was humiliating to the ego for him to drop out and protect his legacy rather than inevitably losing to Trump in November. But at this point, I feel his defiance will ruin him. Yeah, Kyle, you're exactly right. That's exactly where we are right now, where people are saying this is too much. And now because now we're going to lose the Congress. And now you're going to give Trump a mandate. It's too selfish to bear. And I wrote this on social media, and it's clear, guys. Look, there's only two options. There isn't a third option. One is he's totally delusional, and he has no idea how far down he is. And now watching the ABC interview, I think that might actually be the case. And option number two is, no, he knows how devastatingly behind he is, how it would require a miracle comeback, and that he doesn't have the stamina to be able to do that kind of comeback, let alone anything else. But he's just too selfish to let go. Neither one of those is good, delusion or selfish. That's not going to work out. So this is going to end in even bigger embarrassment. So if you're in the camp of you love Joe Biden, you should be trying to get him out of the race more than we are and quicker than we are to save him more of this embarrassment, because this is terrible, this drip. And it's not even a drip anymore. It's a tidal wave. When you're at Adam Schiff, it's a tidal wave, brother. And I got two more for you. So Schiff then says, when asked about the question about, hey, what if you lose to Donald Trump? Hey, by the way, Matt Litch, thank you for joining, brother. We appreciate it. And by the way, you can, all the members, you can also upgrade through the join button too. That also helps tremendously. And Lance, thank you for the super chat. I'll get to Kamala Harris in a second. So Adam Schiff is asked about, hey, he says he's going to give it his all and that he won't feel bad if he loses to Trump because he gave it a college try. Well, Schiff says, no, that answer is the answer that concerned me as well. This is not just about whether he gave it the best college try, but rather whether we made the right decision to run or pass the torch. That is Adam Schiff absolutely throwing Biden under the bus. A day that I thought I would never see. That is stunning. So this thing is over. 1Live83, thank you for gifting a membership. Appreciate it. So now, last thing I got for you guys. Oh, I told you that I'd tell you the Democrats that have now come forward and said, yeah, he's got to withdraw. Now we've got today Representative Jerry Nadler, Mark Takano, Don Beyer, and even Adam Smith. So what's interesting about this is that it ranges from Gromyk-like progressives to moderates like Nadler to even conservative Democrats like Adam Smith and Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff hasn't said he should definitely drop out yet, but what I read you is basically in essence saying that in political speak. So it doesn't look like Biden's got any allies left, which then leads us to the last part of the conversation, because now even Clyburn seems to have turned on him. And if you've lost Clyburn and you're an establishment candidate, no. Okay, a monk without a conscious, I don't know what that is, but thank you for gifting the 5 Vectors memberships, and your names are abbreviated, that's why. The Dude and WP Burnus, so thank you for the super chats. MD, you as well. Damian Blight, thank you for joining. You guys are the best. Hit the join button. Join the team that actually cares about reality, okay? And that cares about beating Donald Trump, because he tried a coup last time. We can get back into that in a minute. But Nathan Poljak, it's hilarious. He's like, admit that you're a right-wing grifter. Why? Because I want Donald Trump to lose? I just called him a maniac. What part of that seems like I'm supporting Donald Trump? Will too, thank you for gifting 5 Young Turks memberships. Okay, if Clyburn has turned against Biden, again, this all adds up to there's no way out here. He's done by next week, right? And Clyburn is basically saying we should have an open convention. And then Ezra Klein, which is great. I love that Clyburn said that. And by the way, that is not a big, move of encouragement or support to Kamala Harris. Because in the beginning, it seemed like Clyburn was saying you have to hand it to Kamala Harris. But now he's not saying that. And he's saying if we do an open convention where the delegates decide, Kamala Harris will probably win anyway, and that'll make her stronger. That is a super rare moment where I agree with Jim Clyburn. Great. Okay. And that's what's also amazing about this. This at this point is not about progressives versus establishment. Those are older fights, and maybe, I hope, future fights. But right now, we're not talking about that. I'm agreeing with Ezra Klein, who's a moderate, and Jim Clyburn and Adam Schiff, who are conservatives. They're agreeing with me when they would never agree with me otherwise. This is about people who want to win versus people who don't want to win. That's why that super chat from earlier was hilarious, because the people that are the Biden dead enders are now saying, we don't care if we win or not. I mean, in their deluded mind, I get it. And I feel bad for the actual voters and the actual viewers, because media lied to them. I have an article about that. I did an op-ed for Media. You can check that out over there. And media got them to believe in this alternate reality where Joe Biden can win. But if I'm the one, if you still haven't heard it and you still don't realize it, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's almost no chance of that. So the only way to beat Trump is what now Clyburn, Schiff, Psaki, and all the conservative Democrats, all the modern Democrats, and all the progressive Democrats that want to win are saying the same thing. Okay, so Ezra Klein wrote a great piece in the New York Times. I mean, look, I couldn't have written it any better, and I don't often say that. It's 100% correct. Check it out if you can. Spread it around if you can. And so he explains, one, there's nothing risky about a convention. People are overhyping the risk. Two, even if you think it's a small risk, brother, we're not winning. Why are we playing prevent defense when we're down 3 touchdowns? Right? No, that's my analogy, not Ezra's, but he's in essence saying the same thing. If ever you were going to take a small risk, this would be the time. And it's not really much of a risk anyway. And Clyburn, Ezra, and I am all saying the same thing about Kamala Harris. If she goes through that process, she actually has a pretty decent chance to win, because she's the vice president. She's going to get to play that card and other cards. You guys keep it real. You know the different cards involved in the Democratic Party, and some of them are legitimate. Other people might think others are illegitimate. It doesn't matter. Show us you're good at this thing. Win the party over. Show us you're the strongest candidate. And if Kamala Harris does that, then I got no problems with her. I withdraw my issues and my complaints. That means she was with it, she was strong, she was smart, she was savvy, and she got the job done, right? And right now she comes in as the favorite. But if she can't pull that off, what's wrong with hearing out other candidates? Democratic governors that have won in red states, Democratic governors that are doing well in swing states. Why wouldn't we want to test the next candidate? And Ezra makes a terrific point, which is, we got into this mess because we didn't test Joe Biden enough. And that's why I'm proud of the campaign we ran at Jank for America. And that's why I'm proud of you guys for backing us on that. Because we were saying, you've got to test them. If you don't test him, you're not helping him. You're not helping the Democratic Party. You're just leaving us unprepared and unguarded. So why make that mistake again? It doesn't make any sense. So let's actually test these guys in a convention, just like we're supposed to. And now if every wing of the Democratic Party agrees, and of course there's others that don't agree, and they say, no, Kamala Harris should be anointed. Anointing people has worked out so well for the Democratic Party. Has it? When has it ever worked out for the Democratic Party? So let's go do this right. It'll be the last little piece of democracy that we can do. So definitely an open convention. In the beginning, it looked like Kamala Harris had a little bit of an edge. She was starting to run away with, we just got to have to anoint her. We have to anoint her, right? But now the forces of maybe not. Maybe convention is the right way to go. And, I've been saying that from day one. Ezra Klein did a brilliant podcast about that many, many, many months ago that I try to get people to listen to. And I like that Ezra wrote it instead of someone like me, because Ezra has huge credibility within mainstream media. So if he writes the article, people go, oh, interesting. It turns out the facts are correct. Yeah, I know, brother, the facts are facts. But if he says it, they believe it. So great. I love it. So that's why, hey, we need to have open conversations, even if people don't agree perfectly. And even if you don't agree on policy on everything, so what? It doesn't mean the other guy isn't perfectly smart and can't help you at a different time. So strange bedfellows in this fight with me and Bill Maher, we don't agree on so many things, but we do agree on this. Carville, Axelrod, Ezra Klein, so many of these folks. These are the early folks. And always shout out to Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, who had the courage to run and who got nuked for it, right? But now that was the beginning. Now the rest of the iceberg has arrived, and Joe Biden has run smack dab into it. So now we see what he's going to do. I made the very, very bold prediction that he might be out as soon as Monday. Well, we're going to find out tomorrow, guys, because tomorrow's Monday. And so I think he's definitely a goner by this week. But at what point in the week, make sure you're checking out the show every day, Monday through Friday. 6 o'clock Eastern is when we start. We do a whole 2-hour show because we're cray-cray. We do another half an hour for the just the members. So it goes 6 to 8 p.m. live for everybody, Monday through Friday. And obviously Monday we'll have all the updates. Last set of shout-outs here.
Coffee. Follow me.